What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the DT podcast. Joined by my wonderful co-host trihex here. We got a shorter list of topics today because we decided one of the things we want to try to do. Yeah, you should probably say hi. I'm sorry, because you're off. Go for it.
Oh, no, it's all good. We're still getting the feel for it right now. What's going on, everyone? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Please. All right. We kind of talked about the Reddit questions and answers. There's a lot of things going on here. So firstly, I like 2 hours. I think trihex likes 2 hours. It feels like a good amount of time to do something. I think I think brevity is cool. To be able to have a podcast in 2 hours is nice. A lot of people like to stretch things out to 3 or 4 hours. It seems to be kind of what's going on today. So doing things in 2 is fine. But I've noticed that it's pretty much impossible to get to Reddit questions because even if we have 5 or 6 topics, it's very easy to get hung up on 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden, it just takes all of our time, and then we don't really get any of the questions. So I think what we're going to do is for the last episode of every month, so every fourth or fifth podcast, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a few topics, and then we're going to dedicate more time to Reddit questions. So that's kind of the goal with today, and then we'll kind of see how that goes, and we'll play that out over the next few months and see what happens. But so we have
it's always in progress, right? Always in progress. So we're still getting a feel for it right now.
We've got a few topics today. I should probably have introductions there, and then we'll hop into a bunch of Reddit questions that have been building over the past few weeks, and then we'll kind of go from there. You want to get right into it then?
Sure. So let's see here. What
our first guy is the Lion King trailer.
Yeah. So in case you guys live completely under a rock, literally here, the Disney has approved, and there is a live action CGI hybrid Lion King remake coming out July 19, 2019. And after a long time, they did a big flex on Twitter a couple months back here, announcing that Beyonce and Childish Gambino, amongst others, were all going to be in the voice cast. And this week, the teaser trailer showing off how the film will look debuted. It's like a 90-second teaser trailer, and it did shatter quite a few records here. Within 24 hours, it accumulated 224.6 million views cumulatively across all medias, YouTube, Twitter video, etc. Being generally the second highest viewed trailer, I believe, within 24 hours, only behind Avengers Infinity War, which was at a little bit higher at 238 million. And it was viewed an absolute shitload, and it's going to make an absolute obscene amount of money, apparently, both in terms of nostalgia from the previous generation that watched the original 94 film, going into the new generation now that's going to see this and be like, wow, look how crazy that looks. So yeah, this is newsworthy because of just the insane amount of views it got, but also wanted to hear from insights here on your take on the teaser trailer as well as my own. So Destiny, how'd you feel about it? Does it look impressive to you? Did you is your nostalgia cranked to max here? Did you watch the film as a kid?
Yeah, of course. I think you had to if you were born anytime in the 80s or early 90s, right? I think at some point you had to have seen The Lion King. It seems like it. To address kind of the elephant in the room, the real or CGI elephant, to call it live action is kind of strange. I think that when we say live action, I think we're just referring to the animation style. So the CGI is, I think from the trailer, the CGI it's supposed to look like real animals, kind of ish, as opposed to like Pixar. So I think that's why people call it live action, but obviously it's CGI. So. It's not like actual lines and shit.
No, you're not wrong there. There's a big debate about that now, actually. Mm-hmm. Would this qualify for, again, if the Oscars were being taken seriously here, would this qualify for best animated film, or does it hold the merit to be qualified for a different category altogether here? And can a film that's of this type be both nominated for best animated? I'm sorry, I'm repeating my thing here, but is it animated or is it not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing I wanted to get to about this, particularly here with the trailer here, is that, more notable facts here, in case you guys just wanted an idea of the scaling of how massive of clout Lion King has. Lion King was the number 1 highest U.S. box office grossing animated film, because remember, it came out in 1994. It was the highest grossing one for a very long time until it got dethroned 14 years later by a Simpsons movie. But again, that's kind of the whole box office inflation numbers here, so I don't know how much merit those really have at this point, but it was uncontested for a very, very long time.
That's insane. The Simpsons movie was that popular?
Sorry, the highest grossing 2D animated film. We're excluding 3D animated here, so this is including the Pixar stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I guess in
But
that
yeah,
case,
yeah,
there's
highest,
not.
yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense, sure. Yeah, one of the we kind of mentioned this beforehand before we went live. One of the things I'm really curious about, since they're trying to do like a more realistic style of animation, what are the animals going to look like when they talk?
That's the thing I worry about that too, actually, because like the teaser trailer notably here has no speaking footage,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the thing that I think about too is that whenever you look at these photorealistic animals with their, again, strong fidelity and everything else, whenever they're animated and whatnot, is that when they have to emulate speaking dialogue and to a greater extent have to emulate human speaking lip movement patterns and such,
Mm-hmm.
and how well will that translate? Will that take you out of it? Because like it's very easy to get into this. I don't want to call it uncanny valley particularly here because it's not creepy. It's just like you're so close to perfection that any the smallest of flaws are really off-putting, which is technically uncanny valley. But like I know uncanny valley has a very heavy-handed stigma for being really really out there and off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Just here it's like you're really really close. So I too wonder how well that'll translate. So I guess we'll see here when we get like our first official trailer and we see like I don't know Simba speaking or we hear like a song revealed.
Did you ever see the Jungle Book?
I did, yes.
How did those
That's the thing
guys
I have
look
faith in
talking?
here. Yeah. That's what I have faith in here actually. Jon Favreau who did Jungle Book, who also did Iron Man 1 and 2, and who did Elf and other. He's our boy. He's a really really good really really good filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle Book was a lot of maybes and a lot of challenges and a lot of risks, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though Lion King here, there's like a big perception that like people are getting a little fatigued on Disney just live action remaking everything imaginable from their Renaissance catalog from
Yeah.
the 90s. But Jungle Book was not a guaranteed banger at all in any fashion, and I think it came out absolutely fantastic. So, but
Are they
with that
gonna?
aside, though,
I'm sorry, I actually
go
have no
ahead.
idea. In the remake of Cinderella, did they do or not Cinderella? Beauty and the Beast. Did they do all the songs?
Ooh, okay, now here's a problem there, right? So I
Uh-huh.
enjoyed Jungle Book. I thought Beauty and the Beast was terrible. I thought that was awful.
Did they do the
It's a
songs or?
they did do songs. They're not good though. What's her name? Is it who played
Was
who
it
portrayed
Emma
Emma,
Watson?
Emma Watson?
Uh huh.
Okay, she can't sing, and it's super obvious that she can't sing. But rather than have like I guess the idea that oh no this Belle can't sing, they auto-tuned the shit out of her singing in that film,
Mm-hmm.
and it's incredibly off-putting. Like if you have like a even like a I don't call myself an audiophile at all here, but like if you have a mild ear for attention to detail, dude, it is dude, the auto-tune is so bad, dude. You hear it whenever Beast does a song, you hear it when she does a song. It's just like just get a singing voice to be the singing Belle alongside speaking Belle, and that would have been solved. But I don't know. That was yeah, that it's a complete train wreck to me on the audio front. But there's more. Like if you want a full rant about the problems I have with Beauty and the Beast, I'd be happy to give them to you. They add a lot of backstory. It's kind of like this bigger trend. I don't want to blame it particularly on CinemaSins. If you're familiar with CinemaSins,
Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
okay, well yeah, well CinemaSins, if y'all don't know, is that they're like a YouTube channel that just kind of like picks on, and I mean like really nitpicks on every continuity error, camera A B shot error, or any things that are possibly wrong with the film
And
in
sometimes
terms.
stuff that's just not even wrong, but would make like an okay joke, but it's not even technically wrong. Like it's something already explained in the film or something. Yeah.
Right. Well, in a sense here, because how does the magic work in Beast's castle? They never explain that, and it's like, well, I don't know, suspension of disbelief here. Maybe just like magic exists or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
like, and I get that where we use something when you say magic exists, and that's just like a lazy cop out of writing because like you're not grounding that into like any kind of realism or any kind of like sense of reality. I can understand that too, and there are definitely films that have bad writing in that regard, but here, man, they go out of their way to explain every little thing about anything ever involving the castle and whatnot, and it drags the film down. In fact, it drags the film down because what you would want them to focus on, at least what I want them to focus on, is more about Belle and Beast bonding together to make that character arc like feel more fulfilling and less like a spontaneous convenience of oh now I love Beast and oh now I love Belle and like but yeah they just kind of like gloss over that again rather than giving that much more I would say depth honestly and just they do all this shit about I mean just do exposition dump all day long about the castle and why the characters are voluntary slaves for Beast and what the rose petal means, and Belle's mother's backstory being added in, and Beast's backstory being added in, and it's just I don't know. I had no interest in watching that movie again. Honestly, it's dumb. It's a fucking mess. But the problem here, or I guess the problem for me here, is that Beauty and the Beast made 1.3 billion with a B worldwide box office. So maybe I'm in the wrong here. Maybe I'm the one who just is mad about that film and not other people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I guess like that was a movie a lot of people were going to see regardless. Same thing with The Lion King. But I mean, if Disney flops them over and over again, eventually there'll be less interest, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think I'm just trying to think of, because they can't just like remake it like shot for shot, right? There's gonna be something changed in the new Lion King movie, right? There's gonna be something different. Or
so let's go over what's staying here. Here's one thing you actually might like. So the voice of Mufasa is actually the same voice from the '94 film. By the way, they didn't change that. They're actually keeping I forget his name here, but they're keeping that guy there. So the same epic brood Mufasa is going to be there and whatnot.
I'm sorry, is that the James Earl Jones guy? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, you're right. So far, there are a lot of shot by shot comparisons where it's mirroring the original film, and I don't know actually. I heard some things, but I don't have any citation on them. I heard that Scar won't sing any songs in this version. What else did I hear? But again, I don't want to feed into speculation because I have no backup on that. Some things I saw on Twitter from a guy who says he knows stuff or whatever.
Sure.
Right, like just a bunch of nothingness. But I can't. You're right. It's worrisome if they do a shot by shot, but they kind of don't really have to innovate here for it to make a lot of money. The nostalgia tugging is so strong on Lion King that I mean, that if you look at it, Star Wars Episode 7, that made what 1.6 billion worldwide, and that was thematically Episode 4 redone. So people, you can look at it like you're bridging the new to the old by just like retelling it in an ultra clean presentation. So if in terms of making money, you could just do shot by shot remake here, but could you do more with it? Is there more to be done there is the question. And with that in mind, this is where I want to challenge you here. The spoilers, y'all. Omega Law spoilers for whatever 24-year-old film. Mufasa's death. Do you think it could? Do you feel like it could be more vivid? Do you feel like they'll tone it down because it's going to seem too controversial to have like dead father on screen for an extended period of time with the son crying and whatnot? Or like,
I mean, I think they can more or less copy that from the original. I don't think it would be too extreme. I don't know if because it's going to be CGI and a little more real, there might be like a little blood or something. But
yeah, I don't know. I really could see them going either way with it. They can make it like more, because it's going to be the comparison. I would imagine people are going to be like, this is the thing where fanboys are going to go crazy and be either really mad or really happy about how it's done. Either you be really loyal and it's like, yeah, you respect the source material, or it's like you change it anyway. And it's like, why would you change that? Do you respect the source material or whatever? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which direction they would actually go with that, but
maybe I'll just get like torn in half. His like entrails are like strewn about the chasm or whatever. I don't know. Or sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't know either here. The other thing here that's noteworthy too about this changes here is that if I recall correctly, Beyonce Knowles voices I always confuse the names here. Nyla is that Simba's girlfriend / future wife, or is Nyla the name of the Mufasa's wife? I forget. Either way, like whatever. Beyonce from what I recall here is Mufasa's wife, whatever her name is.
Gotcha. Nala.
All right, Nala. Okay,
right,
cool.
yeah.
I was right then. All right. Yeah. So does that mean you're gonna like waste Beyonce's voice because I don't remember Nala having any singing in the original? So are you gonna give her like a mother song or some shit at some point? So there to me there's that could be a change that could happen.
Yep. Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Someone is knocking at my door. Hold on, give me like 2 seconds.
Ooh, sure. So let's see what else is there, y'all. But yeah, I guess I can go in further here about opinions on live action remakes here. Yeah, so there's when he comes back here, I'll talk about it further here. But there's also the fact that we also have a good timeline of what's coming up here. So you have the Lion King live action remake coming up here in July 2019. You have the Aladdin live action remakes. Also, it's coming out very, very close to the this one too here. That's not even a thing yet here. But the Aladdin one, I believe, comes out in May 2019. Believe it or not, like it's
an Aladdin live action movie.
Yeah, they already had the teaser trailer for it and everything. That already, yeah, that's coming out. It's kind of unreal because I'm like, wow, this comes out so close to the Lion King one.
Yeah.
If I
How did I miss
if I
this? I
recall,
didn't see or hear about this trailer at all. Oh God, I must have been out of town or something.
yeah, there's a it's all good. We can talk about it more next time. There's
Yeah.
there's an Aladdin live action. But again, same thing. This one here has a teaser trailer attached to it, and it's
Mhm.
like it's pretty much just the Cave of Wonder. If I'm calling it the right thing, Cave of Wonder, the cave where the lamp is that Aladdin goes into, get it and whatnot. It's just literally just the Cave of Wonder and nothing else. So we don't see the actor depicted as Aladdin, or we don't see anything else there. So but if I recall correctly, it is coming out in May 2019.
Yep.
So it's just like just think it for a second, right? Look at how ridiculously powerful Disney's getting now. Like you got Captain Marvel coming out, and then you have, which I believe is in March 2019. Then you have Infinity War Part 2 coming out in I think late April or early May. Then Aladdin, and then Lion King. Like it's just like, oh my god, dude! Like
Yeah, jeez.
crazy.
Here's kind of like a more macro question that I'm kind of interested in. Is there
Mhm.
value in remaking like a high quality animated film? In terms of like remaking or rebooting older stuff, I think that there are older things that can definitely benefit from like a passover with like new special effects. Like it actually allows you to tell like more of the story by being able to show more, because we've got so many more techniques today for film. But when it comes to
Mhm.
animated stuff, especially high quality animated stuff, like everything that you wanted to see was more or less there. Like I don't think anybody has ever like watched, or I don't think like the old animators of The Lion King are like, man, I wish we could do this thing, but we just don't have the technology or something, you know? So like, I kind of wonder sometimes what benefits are there to doing reboots of some of these older animated films?
Hmm. That's actually a really really good question here. So you're saying when you say remake animated films, though, we're talking about like particularly the Disney style, where it's like it was traditionally 2D animated, and then it's being made into CGI heavy live action hybrids.
Sure, just something that was animated at a really high quality, and then yeah.
So there's two things you can do there, right? There's like one is you retell the story with better visuals, or two, you modernize a story with like I guess modern context where you make it more like, because for example here in Beauty and the Beast,
So
there
Mufasa's going to be running around, and there's going to be like some Black Lives Matter hyenas, or
I guess actually I you know what again I shouldn't tell you about speculation here,
yeah,
but the guy who was talking speculation said that the hyenas are going to be removed from the story.
weren't or
Um,
were
are going to be
are going to be
removed.
removed. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which might mean that the whole boneyard thing might get scrapped.
Weird.
And I don't know, like, so like, if you take again total speculation here, to keep that in mind, I have no proof on any of this stuff here. But if
Mm-hmm.
you remove the hyenas and you make the whole boneyard thing have less weight because there's less characters there to occupy and whatnot, unless you make something new happen entirely here. But to me, that gives me, if that were true, that would give the implication that you're gonna have more scenes of Scar arguing with the royal family, Mufasa and Nala,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna see more of that come into play here. You're
People
gonna
are
you're gonna
saying that apparently there have
invest
already
more
been
into it.
people confirmed
But
casted as hyenas too, so maybe that rumor is just not true.
all right, cool. All right, yeah. I shouldn't speculate anyway on that kind of thing anyway.
Sure.
But yeah, you can modernize a story with more historical context, I guess. Because for example, in Beauty and the Beast live action remake, they added more black people into the crowds of the town and whatnot, and this is like the real cop out here. We talked about this one a little bit before at an early episode, but like Disney bragging really hard that they now have their first openly gay character depicted in the live action film, and it's Gaston's little friend. I forget his name here, but like, dude, it was nothing. It was as noteworthy as freaking Donald Glover's character in Solo being pansexual. It's like okay, you're calling him gay, but he never does anything. The most he does is like hug a dude at the very end, and you wouldn't even, if you didn't even know that this was like getting press time for being so progressive, you wouldn't even like take it as like anything noteworthy. Like there was never any angles of anything like that, honestly. Like sure, like he's fawning over Gaston throughout the film, but like I don't know. To me, that's just like you're trying to min max out of your own achievements here. Like, yeah, look how progressive we are but we don't actually want to offend anyone who's actually homophobic here. So we don't want to be too gay.
It kind of, not to get into it too much, but it kind of reminds me when J.K. Rowling was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Dumbledore was gay."
Yeah, literally that. Yeah, like, oh
Uh,
god, in hindsight, I wish I was more
progressives.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's another topic though, right? That J.K. Rowling and all that's a whole
Yeah.
other can of worms we can do another day. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can do it for those two reasons, either modernize the story or modernize the visuals here. I'm not against either one. It's a mixed track record for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's more that it's really because Jon Favreau did such a stellar job on Jungle Book that I'm sorry, my dog's barking again. Stellar job on Jungle Book that I'm really like that I'm really real. I have faith. I have faith that the it's going to be well. I've enjoyed all his films for in some capacity at some point or for the most part. So I have faith in him, honestly. So I'm excited for it.
All right, cool. Well, I think that we've said what we're gonna say. Not much to do besides
Yeah.
speculate past that. Our one of our two big topics for today,
What you got?
the thought audit.
Ooh.
Did you follow the
All right.
inception of this? Have you seen anything about this or?
So let me just tell you what how I heard about this, right? So the first thing I heard was I heard that there was people that were mad about some I want to call them sex workers, I don't whatever I want to call them, sex workers, lewd cosplayers, whatever you want to call them, right? Whatever encompassing term is appropriate for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard that there were some people who were particularly really butt mad about these premium Snapchats becoming more commonplace amongst these sex workers, and that they started to report them to the IRS because they were making miscellaneous income that was being undocumented through the perks of what's required to get access to these Snapchats. And I was just like, oh my god, these boys are so mad about they're mad because they can't get into the Snapchat now, that rather than, like, I don't know, respect that there's like a price barrier to more premium content like anything else in the world with a supply and demand system. I'm gonna cry to the IRS and see what happens and whatnot. But then I find out that actually that there's a Twitch streamer involved in this as well here that's caught in the tornado of hate that is the thought audit. And now I'm like, oh wow, this actually is bigger than I thought it was, honestly.
Wait, who's the Twitch streamer?
Oh crap, I don't know her personally, nor have I watched her. I have to dig for her name here. Crap, someone's probably gonna know here. I apologize in advance.
It's not like a big one like a Lindy or something, is it?
I don't no. I don't, at least I don't think so.
Okay.
No. If you give me a second here, I can go for it. But while I'm skimming through here, if you wanna do you want to elaborate further on?
Yeah. So basically, I can't find the original Facebook post. I don't know if it was deleted. I'm sure there's like an archive somewhere. I don't really care to find it. But basically, some guy named David Wu, I guess, started this movement where what he was saying was, if you run and you spam report every single Snapchat girl to to fucking the IRS or some shit, that you can get paid for it, that there's like a finder's fee or some stupid shit. And so obviously a ton of incels and shit, latched onto this as a way to stick it to the thoughts. And we're like, oh, like we can fucking, we can get all these girls, we can report them, we can take them down, and we can even get paid for it. And, we're not doing anything anyway, so why not? And yeah, people went insane on this. I'm pretty sure there were multiple huge threads on Reddit. The one that I saw in, was it I'm Going to Hell for This? Hit like, this thread hit like over 1,000 comments. It was huge. But I mean, like, the whole movement is insanely fucking transparent. I mean, like, people are obviously just like really fucking upset that, I guess, girls do the Snapchat shit or whatever and don't fuck them or whatever. I don't know. Oh yeah, so if you sort I'm Going to Hell for This, it's literally the top comment in the past, or the top thread in the past week. That's how popular it got. It's the second to most popular one in the past month. Yeah, so people were real mad about these girls for whatever reason. And it's really funny too. And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, not everybody has the same opinion," but it's like most of these people are probably Trumples. Most of these people are probably more right-leaning than left-leaning, I would imagine, just a guess. It's kind of interesting that, there were so many excuses being made for Trump's taxes, or the massive tax fraud story that got posted in the New York Times about Trump. I guess nobody cares about his taxes, but man, some girl making, $1,000 a year on Snapchat, you got to ship that report off to the IRS. There's so much bad tax advice, so many bad recommendations. Like, the idea that you could even report these girls is hilariously not true. Yeah, they're just, oh my god.
So let's talk about that actually real quick here.
Yeah.
So two things I want to elaborate on. One, I misread the sentence here. A girl named Cammy is an adult streamer. And I just saw that and I thought, I don't know why I thought Twitch. Maybe I saw like Twitter in the same sentence and I thought Twitter. Maybe I misread it as Twitch. So I have. I mean, let me take back the Twitch streamer. I actually have no clue if there was one here. But so let's go over the whole reporting process here. Like the whole idea of doing the watchdog reporting to the IRS to snitch on tax evasion practices and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
One is you can't. Let's elaborate some things here. One, you can't do it online. They accept nothing over the phone or any kind of digital messaging medium. You have to send and mail paper forms.
So you're talking, the form you're talking about is Form 3949A, actually. Yeah, the information report from the Department of Treasury. And then you're going to file another form, which is Form 211, to actually claim your reward. I'm willing to bet that most of these people have never even seen it before, but I'm pretty sure 3949A has to be mailed in, like you're saying. Yeah.
And you need a lot of information here too. You need the full legal name, physical address. You pretty much have to dox the target you're going for if you're going to do this whole thing right now. So, and I think this is like and I believe also you have to also give all of your information as well here. So you're
you don't have to, but it's at the end. I mean, you can. I mean, obviously for if you're doing Form 211, if you want to apply for the award, then you need to. But yeah, basically they ask you for as much information as possible. But I mean, like the idea is that like if you report somebody for tax fraud, you have to have some information for the government. Like for that finder's fee, you have to give them credible information that would lead to an audit, that would lead to them recovering some sort of funds. And firstly, most girls don't make anywhere near enough on Snapchat. Most of them probably don't even make enough to pay taxes on it, really, firstly. And then secondly, most girls probably don't make enough for if they weren't paying taxes that the government would even give a fuck, right? Like if you're making less than like 20 or 30K, they're not going to fucking audit you. There's no money there. Like the IRS already knows that there's hundreds of thousands or like millions of dollars out there that it can't go after right now because it doesn't have the resources. I think in 2011, I was reading a Forbes article that there were like over 100,000 of these 3949As filed, and that like a lot of these just get destroyed because it's just such a waste of time. There's not enough information. It's like so stupid. I know, like, so like a lot of people in chat right now, I'm just reading the chat. I know that's the general gist of it. A lot of people are like, oh no, there's lots of people who make bank on Snapchat. Like, oh, you're literally wrong. Like, you're so stupid. Like, where do you think that the average guy has thousands of dollars to give to a Snapchat girl? Like, you see like 5 or 10 like really famous Snapchat girls, and like you think the average person is like that? That's like saying the average Twitch streamer, makes 100,000 a year. That's not true. The average Twitch streamer probably barely has 15 subscribers, if that. Like this idea that the average Snapchat girl is making bank, all this money. Firstly, like, where did all this extra money come from? Like, I mean, I would love to see some numbers, but I've actually, no one has any numbers at all. They're just all assuming because they've seen like a couple like girls sitting in a Lamborghini that they don't even own. They assume that every girl is literally making bank on Snapchat. Like, yeah, I don't know.
No, you're right though. You're right. I mean, bring on numbers here. Twitch partners, 32,000 total, if I recall correctly. Active monthly broadcasters, 3.3 million. And even then, of those 32,000 partners, that's a wide spectrum of success between the ones that have, debatably, double-digit viewer average, 80 or whatever viewers compared to, your ninjas and whatnot who are just, way up on there in the top, 0.1%. And it's the same, that whole thing is mirrored literally with this whole Snapchat thing. Yeah, you look at the extremes and you're saying that, yeah, this is the average. So,
some of these comments. I don't want to make it about like chat or whatever. Some of these comments are so stupid. If you make 100K from your job, then 1K on Snapchat, that Snapchat is still taxable. Like, congratulations, you're right. How many girls out there are making 100K? They're just pulling in a casual 6 figures from their main job, and then they like. This is about hating women, right? It's really what it is. You're really fucking mad that there are some women that do some lewd shit or whatever on Snapchat, and you're like, I'm gonna fucking get them. Like, that's what this is about. It has nothing to do with paying taxes. It has nothing to do with like, making sure people are right. Because firstly, most of the people that like all the people that believe that like taxes theft and shit are part of these groups of people anyway. Secondly, where have we ever seen this type of outcry to other people that don't pay taxes? Like, for instance, servers. A lot of servers. Now, this is anecdotal, but I've known a lot of servers that do not report their cash tips. Now, if you get a credit card tip, usually that automatically shows up on your paycheck. But for cash tips, you might never report that to the IRS. There's a lot of servers I know that do that. As long as you're hitting that minimum wage, so your job doesn't have to compensate you, a lot of people don't report that shit at all. Where's the giant movement to like report servers and waitresses and shit to the IRS for skimping on their taxes? I don't know. The whole, it feels like one of those things where it's like people are like, kind of, sort of, technically almost correct, but it's like it would be like a guy like sitting at the top of his window every day, like trying to find black people jaywalking, and then calling the cops every time he saw it. And he's like, "What do you mean, dude? Well, jaywalking's illegal. Just follow the law. Like, just follow the law." I was like, "Okay, dude. Like, really? Like, come on, dog. Like, this is really what you're gonna do with your free time? Like, this is, yeah. I don't know."
Yeah, and that kind of does like a minor segue into like a bigger picture here, which you're saying the whole hating women angle,
Mm-hmm.
and with that it's like the moral ambiguity of being a sex worker. It's like, well, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna go a little hypothetical here, but like the idea that if sex working was more standardized, would it be less stigmatized in U.S. perception? Like
Oh,
right now, like
possibly.
there's
I
a
think
lot of
it's like I don't know if
right.
it's so much. It's probably a combination. There's a combination of like the sex work and the fact that like the online culture right now, especially with this incel shit becoming so popular and Tinder and everything. Like there is like this huge growing movement of people that just fucking hate women. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I worry that like I wonder if the world would be a better place if like just straight up prostitution was legal all around. Then there would be proper outlets for those who want to get, I don't know, relieved or whatever, and then maybe their sexual aggression would become no longer
Mm-hmm.
hating women and negative channels and whatnot. It would be
Yeah,
manifested. It's like, yeah,
I
I'm
see a lot
mad.
of I see a lot of people saying shit like waitressing is a real job and whatnot as well. Like, I didn't realize I had so many socialists or communists even in my chat. So if you believe in something, say like the labor value theory or whatever, if you believe that there are certain types of work that are real work, or that the way that we pay people out should be decided by a council of people or something, that's awesome. I didn't know that so many people that were reporting these women were literal like socialists or communists. But unfortunately, in the country we live in, it's capitalism, which means that the value of your job or whatever is determined by the market. So to sit here and say that Snapchat girls aren't a real job because you think that waitresses work hard or whatever, that's not how anybody is paid in our society, right? Like I don't know why anybody would pull that argument out here to say that like, oh well, no, like that's not real work. Well, what do you mean? What's not real work? Is dribbling a basketball real work? Because athletes, I mean, now you could argue that athletes are the best at what they do, sure, but I mean, Snapchat girls are the hottest at what they do. I mean, I don't know. There's just like the problem is that like with this issue, like it really comes down to the fact that you found a way to stick it to the thoughts, and that's all you're really concerned about. Just leave the bullshit arguments aside. Like just just be honest about what you're doing. Like it's okay to. Well, it's not okay, but I mean, like, yeah. Sorry. Ugh.
No. It's a heavy topic here, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right though. It's all about owning them and nothing else here. And I feel like it stems from a combination of sexual frustration and jealousy that manifests itself into blinding themselves from the reality of what they're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you there. Is there did we cover the entire angle of it here? Is that the entirety of it right now? This is still on developing, right? Like this didn't like resolve, correct? This is like still a thing that's happening right now.
Well, no, nothing is happening. Apparently, one girl tweeted that she was getting audited, although I don't know if that's real. But no, in terms of like, none of these 3949As are going to pan out. One, because you have no credible information. You can't just give the name of someone and say, I think they're skipping taxes. And then like, that's it. The IRS isn't going to follow up on that. Like, it's a hilarious waste of time. Like, and it's kind of like the thing where you see like white people talk about like, well, what is real racism? It's a guy, calling me names on on Twitter or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, there you go, you've experienced real racism, my dude. Well, this is kind of the same thing where it's like, okay, well, the IRS is going to think this is real important because literally my life and my perspective is the only thing I know. So if I go and report a bunch of Snapchat thoughts to them, I know that they're going to follow up on these tips. Like, the IRS doesn't give a fuck about your dumbass fucking tips. Like I said, they get over 100,000 of these reports a year. Like, thousands of these just get shredded for not having the correct amount of information. Like, the follow-up rates on these are pretty bad, and you don't even have any real information to refer. And these are for people that are actually trying to refer information. Like, you don't have tax IDs, right. You don't have social security numbers, you don't have addresses, you don't have actual verified proof that they're not paying taxes. Like, you don't have like any of this shit. You're literally just like spamming them a list of people and saying, well, I hope I'm pretty sure some of these people are committing tax fraud, so yeah, go check them out. Like, okay, dude, like, yeah, sure.
Not only that, but if you want to go a little step further here, you can bring up the I don't know if it's still accurate or not here, the notoriety that the IRS is woefully understaffed. Mm-hmm. And it takes eons for them to even get their own thing done, much less enforcing external, that's their own internal investigations, but like even just getting the external tip-ins and whatnot.
Yeah.
From what I understand, like I forget the exact the thing I read on this a couple years back here. It might have been like around 2005, but just like abysmal workforce numbers overall, and they just don't they need more, but they don't have more. And then you have the constant what's the talking point of McCain? I forget here. No, it was I think it was Romney who wanted to just like get rid of the IRS at one point, right?
I think every Republican has said this at some
Yeah,
point
right.
because they just want
Sorry.
like a flat tax
Yeah,
on
it's like
sales.
we want to get rid of it because we don't need it anyway. So they just constantly threatened it from various campaigns in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, point is, yeah, they don't even have the manpower anyway to really even like do much with that, regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a giant shit show.
So
yeah, that's the audit going on right now. Again, sorry, I legit thought that there was like a Twitch related angle here, but I misread that one sentence here, so I apologize.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's about all that. I mean, like I said, I doubt anything will pan out from it. I don't even know if that one girl that tweeted really got audited. She could have just gotten unlucky, and it was like a random thing. So who knows?
Yeah, it's also like a tough case of just no accountability because it's like it's trolls trolling trolls anyway. Like you really don't know.
I don't
like,
think so. I'd be careful with that because when people say trolls trolling trolls, it sounds like nobody actually means anything and they're all just kind of memeing. But I think there are some people that like legitimately got like hardcore caught up in this. Like I saw a lot of people posting on my subreddit that came out that were really, really invested in this. Like we're like, oh no, this is about making sure people pay their taxes and it's like, and like okay, dude, like
okay,
yeah. But these people post like in the down all day and like don't care at all about any of his history. Like yeah, fuck it. So I mean, it's pretty clear what's going on. I think that people are genuinely like really emotionally invested in this.
Okay, got you on that. Fair point.
All right. Next one is are you good there? We could talk about Stephen Hillenburg.
Stephen Hillenburg. So yeah, very, very, very sad news report for everyone in here right now. Yesterday was the very unfortunate passing of Stephen Hillenburg, who is the creator of SpongeBob. The name may sound familiar to you because you've seen it in the opening sequence of SpongeBob on every episode ever. He passed away at the young age of 57, if I recall correctly here.
Yeah. Or 56.
So,
but yeah.
56. I'm sorry. Yeah. So just shy of the 20th anniversary of SpongeBob. So I found this one really, really important to talk about because I know a lot of us in here are millennials or whatever term you want to give us, our age gap and whatnot, who were around for SpongeBob in its entirety from Spawn to now. And just a brief little breakdown on this whole thing right here. I wanted to bring up some cool things here. So first thing first is the age. So he did pass away at 56.
It was 57. You're right. Sorry.
It was 57. Okay, 57. And there are two things about age conception I wanted to bring into play here. One is that if you didn't know, he created SpongeBob at the age of 37. Like, so anyone here who's like freaking out because they're 20 whatever and they feel like a total failure, or they're like 30 with I don't know, no wife, no kids, no car, no home, whatever, like chill, because you got two massive reinforcements here that the whole age perception accomplishment thing, I got to be X by Y, I got to be successful by 30 or whatever. You can kind of chill out on that a little bit more here because you had Stanley, who passed away recently as well here at 95 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Notably here did not created Fantastic Four at age 39. And then you also have here another example with Stephen Hillenburg making SpongeBob at age 37. So a little bit more about him as well. Here's the fact that he was big into marine biology. He was a marine biologist. He did that, and he worked at a marine institute in California for a while, helping to do that and whatnot. And then but because he also had a passion for cartoons and whatnot, he literally, despite choosing marine biology because it seemed like a more safe occupation to do for a career path, he attended Cal Arts, California Institute of Arts, which is a very notoriously high-end art institute school that Disney, for example, commonly hires out of. Disney and Pixar both hire out of there all the time. And he went there and he majored in experimental animation. At which point he, I forget his mentor's name, but really, gave him the reinforcement that you belong in animation. You have the unique skill set that I think that people need to hear what your story is or whatever it may be. And now, so they went from that, and he from graduating in experimental animation at Cal Arts, he ran into Joe Murray. Joe Murray, if you don't know, is the creator of Rocko's Modern Life, which I'm sure all of you in chat know. That show is super fucking lit. So he became a writer, producer, and director for a couple episodes for Rocko's Modern Life, getting his getting in the field of animation and cartoons ultimately here, which that experience was very vital for him to get into where he was able to nail SpongeBob. And the idea behind SpongeBob actually was it was a comic that he made at the Marine Institute to help kids better understand the marine ecosystems and whatnot. So he just kind of gave like anthropomorphic drawings of all kinds of crustaceans and everything around the ecosystem. You had the starfish. You had a more anatomically accurate sponge, etc. I don't know, whatever squids and everything else you can think of here about the under the water. And so he and that comic he made was reinforced like a good starting point for what could be expanded to a full series. At which point, then he pitched it, and it went really, really well. And then SpongeBob happened in 1999, and that's been the show. And the show was fantastic from the very, very jump. And the reason why I think it's important to break down, one, to cover the passing of Steven Hillenburg, but also the reason why I think it's really important, even now on the show here, to cover this is because so many people still love SpongeBob 19 years later. The same can't be said about a lot of shows that have come and gone since then, whether it be, the Nostalgia Chapter for Rugrats versus Fairly Odd Parents versus, I don't know, like Adventure Time or whatever, right? But like everyone, such a universal group of people agree that SpongeBob is fucking lit at its peak.
For the first 3 seasons, yeah, for sure.
For the first 3 seasons, yeah.
I don't remember if they changed out the head guy or one of the head writers or what, but after the first few seasons, the show started to slant a little bit less adult friendly, I guess, and got a little bit more silly all the time, I guess.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, to go on about that here, that is if you look at the title sequence for every episode in the first 3 seasons, you saw that not only was it created by Steven Hillenburg, but also that the creative director was Derek Dryman. This is where when you see his name, that's when you know the episode's going to be good. So yeah, Derek Dryman was one of the associates that Hillenburg got in contact with, and what personally built his own creative team of writers and other people like that to make the show as good as it could be in the very, very beginning. But like any other show here, you get a creative writing staff. They're gonna come together, pull out all their bangers, and in time, when you've done every like good concept, idea and or good concept worth pursuing, you're kind of on the ground. It's like we're kind of you're kind of written into a wall where we already did that cool idea here. Here's a cool idea, but we already kind of did that here, or we already kind of explored all that we can do without introducing new characters or I don't know, killing off someone to make the reality change for those around each other who are remaining here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of these general like jumping the shark moments and whatnot, which you can see literally from like all kinds of things here. I can name many examples here, but I'll just name one for you. Particularly if you're a fan of like Nickelodeon's Rugrats, that Rugrats took a huge decline in quality once they did every good idea they could, and it was like, well, we're out of ideas now, so let's go ahead and let's give Tommy Pickles a little brother, Dill Pickles.
Oh, you find him God, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, he's an annoying little fuck, right? And then you go from there and introduce more characters. They give Chucky a little sister or a sister, Kimi, and give Chucky's dad a wife / Chucky a mom, and you introduce more and more characters. And then it's just like whatever. It's nowhere near as good as the original was, but that's also as well as a byproduct of having the new writers on the show. So just like SpongeBob here, same thing. The writers are banger, then they move on. And do other things as well, because why would you be tied down to just being forced to create this inferior products that don't even tap your full potential, which you could do in a creative endeavor. Mm-hmm. So, and the same thing could apply here to.
I'm just curious for Hey Arnold. Did they ever add new characters to that? I'm trying to think of like all the shows that I've watched where that new character snuck. And I remember for like Scooby Doo, like Scrappy ends up getting added.
Oh God, Scrappy is so obvious, dude. Oh my God, yeah.
But I'm trying to think like in terms of like for Hey Arnold, did they ever add any new characters to that show or?
I don't recall. I don't recall actually ever going into a decline of quality before being canceled. Mm-hmm. I think just the movie was like the movie was kind of passable, and then ultimately it was on at that point.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
So I don't think so particularly here, but there are many more. If you want to hear about more examples here, Fairly Odd Parents goes through some tragic changes here. If you were around for that show, they give Cosmo and Wanda a dog. They give a baby.
Oh yeah.
They give Timmy Turner a neighbor, a girl who also has Fairly Odd Parents. It's just my God, dude, it goes down a really down path there for the quality for me, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Just in general, there are a lot of shows where the success kind of like wanes the effectiveness of the writing and whatnot. I mean, even then to a certain extent here, even Simpsons comes as an example, because like, people debate that Simpsons was good until season 9. Some even go further and say that season 7 was when the Simpsons went downhill. And here we are at a point now where it's like what can you even do anymore? I find, other than introduce new antics for them to get into, as opposed to using the density of Springfield and all of its citizens. But you've kind of already done everything when you're on like season 30, going on 31 now.
Mm-hmm. Do you I don't remember if I talked about this with you or if it was with somebody else. Did we ever talk about the idea that like when people start like bands or like kind of sketch comedy shows that like the first like 2 or 3 seasons are always really good and then it seems to go down, and I kind of wonder if it's like you've spent your whole life waiting for that moment where you become like a big person, that you have so many ideas built up that you can put out like 1 or 2 seasons of good shit, but then you kind of run out of stuff and having to make it on the fly is like really difficult.
No, we didn't talk about that, but that is interesting to bring up here, though. All those life experiences you go through until you get to the point where you can make a show.
Yeah.
I mean, you have all the great ideas because you have all this real to life experience to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you've depleted all that, right, then what do you have left? You have to make up like new shit, or just go through life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, actually.
I've always wondered that, like, because for music, because I've got like obviously like a million ideas. Like, if I was ever to get in a recording studio, I could bang out like an album, or maybe even two, in terms of ideas. Like, if I could flesh them out, like pretty quickly. But then past that, it would be really, really hard. Like, I would have to think, because I've had like my whole life to mess around with musical ideas, and now it's like, okay, well, you just made your second album. Now you're going to like you're past your B tracks. Now you're going to like your C tracks and your D tracks. Like, what do you have? It's like, oh god, like I can't like. Because you spend your whole life kind of accumulating ideas. I don't think that any comedian or sketch writer or a musician like sits down and is like, okay, in 3 months I need to create X amount of songs. It's just a process that happens like over many, many, many years, But then as soon as you get past like all of your material that you've saved up for so long, and you have to start creating shit like while in the studio, that seems like it would be really difficult to do.
Not only that, then you got to figure out here, your destiny. So you already have your platform where you can use your metaphorical megaphone to like get your content out there and have it be received.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a regular person, not streamer extraordinaire, you got to consider the whole like the marketing perception that dilutes your product as well here. Like, yeah, this is your original vision here, but we have all the data and the metrics here to like really point out how we can make it more effective to get our bottom line and capital, recouped from investing in you.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I have Destiny the album that's pure, but also then I have like, marketing executives take on Destiny the album that they find will probably be a safer investment.
Yeah, maybe.
So
yeah.
you got that too is another one as well. So there are some cases where a particular example would be like, I'm sorry, it's a very American POV right now, but the earliest winners of American Idol, back in 2001 through like 2005, when American Idol was like very, very viral, it comes to mind here,
Mm-hmm.
where they won American Idol and they win a record deal, and you can just tell it is so hyper marketed and construed to be like whatever the record executives think works on the aspects of that particular person.
Yeah.
So rather than whatever true message they even had, So I don't know. That I don't know. I find that kind of like a problematic as well here.
Yeah,
maybe that's changed since then though, because I'm bringing up pre Spotify and just at the start of Napster's dominance to completely rupture the record industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think things have definitely changed since then as well. But still it's a good point to bring up though, actually.
Yeah. Okay, we saved a lot of time. Do you want to do it? Going into the Reddit questions?
Go into the Reddit questions. Well, wait, one more small thing about the SpongeBob thing, though.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to bring it up, though, is because millennials love SpongeBob, and this was I'm gonna make this one really, really fast here.
Yeah.
It's because when we first watched SpongeBob as we were young, I've watched a couple of videos. And I think it's a really great point here. In the beginning, we identified with SpongeBob. We found SpongeBob's antics funny because it was an adult that had childlike qualities that counter to Squidward's pessimistic, dire outlook in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, you kind of related to SpongeBob's sense of discovery in every single episode. But then as an adult, as a jaded millennial who's had the economy shit on you, and you're working some dead end job and you can't accumulate any kind of money being saved because the housing market's a complete pile of shit and every other thing that comes to mind, right? You're being antagonized by for killing every industry imaginable, whether it be napkins or movie industry or whatever else, with your avocado toast, of course.
Yeah.
You identify as Squidward as you've progressed from childhood to adulthood. And there's this unique dynamic where you watch episodes in the first 3 seasons and you can just see like both angles here, why you enjoyed it as a kid and why you enjoyed it as an adult. And going further here, why the decline of SpongeBob happens because you've exhausted all the good ideas, and it becomes simpler antics where just like rather than SpongeBob be an obviously an adult who's ambitious about working at the Krusty Krab, it becomes it becomes more like a man child, which is kind of like a child acting like a child rather than an adult with an adult responsibilities acting like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes more like, SpongeBob's the antagonist blatantly towards Squidward, and it just feels like an annoying character more so than like this unique dynamic of perspectives on two different things here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing I wanted to bring up real quick here about that. But
and then you got half the Twitch chat that all identifies Patrick and continue to do so to this day. So.
Yeah, man. Wumbo fam. Instead of the W for Wumbo. Just go for it, yo. But yeah, let's but yeah, just wanted to bring up there again. I'm a huge SpongeBob fan personally, especially the first 3 seasons, or really 3 seasons. I'm not as much of a fan. It's all about the later stuff here.
Sure.
So I'm a big fan. But yeah. So Reddit questions, right?
Yep.
You ready to? Okay. So yeah, we want to make it a priority this week to actually do some more because we've done a fantastic job, wink wink, on getting to those on a timely fashion on the podcast in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and start with the first one here. Someone here asked, what are our thoughts on the American missionary that was killed by an endangered tribe in India?
Oh fuck.
If you guys didn't hear about this one here, there was there was
basically there was a guy, American, I believe he's an American missionary, and he'd gone to this island a few times before with mixed reactions. Sometimes they were happy to see him, sometimes they kind of scared him. I think at one point he went and some kid shot an arrow like the Bible he was holding and he ran back to his boat, but he basically said that he felt like it was his life's calling to go and spread the word of God to this group of people. And there's so much going on here. So in case you didn't know, these people, who are they called? The Celanese?
Yeah.
Something like that. But basically, it's a group of people. It's an island that's been inhabited by a tribe of anywhere from the Sentinelese. It might be the Sentinelese. I can't pronounce it. It was one of those. I haven't looked at the pronunciation first, but I said it so many times now that I'm not sure which one is the correct one. But this is a group of people that have been essentially uncontacted or unmingled with the rest of the world for 60,000 years. And the Indian government has basically said it's illegal to go within 3 miles of the island for a variety of reasons, anthropological reasons, because I guess we don't think it's right to do it, but more pragmatically because these people could just die. Similar to when the Europeans came over to the Americas and 95% of the American population was killed by was it smallpox? Or I don't remember. I don't know which diseases particularly.
Yeah. It was
some combination of
pox being one of them. Yeah,
some combination of European diseases that the people weren't ready for. A lot of people were worried that this tribe could just die instantly. And actually, that might happen already. Actually, since this preacher did go to the island, it's possible that those people will begin to contract diseases and die as a result of him going over. So ironically, in his effort to save the people, he might have already condemned them all to death. It's estimated that there are, from what I've read anywhere from 40 to 150 to 400 people on the island. Apparently getting an accurate estimate is really difficult to do it. But
right.
Yeah, every time people have tried to go to this island, people have been shot at by bows and arrows and shit by the people there. They clearly don't want visitors. And I think the Indian government yesterday, released a statement that they're not going after this guy's body at all. He got buried somewhere and they just don't care. So,
yeah, they have an approximate location where the body is near one of the beach shores, but they're not even going to go over there. Because even as recently as there was another incident too where a passerby boat kind of misnavigated and they ended up near their shore, and they were all like, there's a picture from 2005. You can just see them all on the shore hovering, waiting, and the boat kind of just like fucks off and goes away. Yeah. Like they are like, yeah, they are not friendly, or they're not really receptive to foreign people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is but yeah, so that happened, and the question here continues here. I find something interesting here. If we don't react to people getting killed by these tribes when they wander upon their land, where does the line go? And to that, I'm just like, I'll read it's like a 3-part question here. Where does the line go? What if someone goes there accidentally, or if it's a child? At the same time, he was putting them at risk by potentially spreading diseases. So with that in mind, okay, so first thing first here, the argument about people going there accidentally, I find it's pretty hard. It's pretty far out the way from what I read on here. You don't kind of accidentally go over there. It's pretty far out there.
That's what I saw. The map that I saw made the island seem pretty far out. There are apparently 7 different fishermen that helped this guy get to the island, and all of them have been arrested. So, yeah, I don't think a child is going to just swim his way to this island.
Yeah, for sure. And then there is a what's there here? Yeah. So we already talked about the whole spreading diseases thing here, and then And then the final argument here would be that are they getting away with free murder by, or that's the, like the implication of the question, right? Are they getting away with free murder if we don't enforce laws upon these people that are that get killed whenever they go on the island? To which point it's like, okay, well, when you're literally violating Indian law by even like just like going within 3 miles here, that's like the law to let them preserve their thing and whatnot. So I find this whole thing kind of like I find this particular question being angled here like that the tribe should have more accountability. Kind of
Well, I
like
mean, like, if we look at this under conventional morality, that's their country. I mean, if somebody goes into another person's country and violates their laws and gets punished for it, I mean, we don't even do shit when fucking North Korea does that, right? Like, so I
right,
mean, why
yeah,
the fuck would we do it to these people? I mean, I mean, if we treating them as their own kind of autonomous nation, their own nation state, which we kind of do. I mean, it's their laws. If somebody kind of invades their island, I don't know if we have rights to go over there and enforce our laws on those people.
yeah, I agree with that too. And also, you can just I don't know. There's just something about the whole like he was going there to spread the word of God and Christianity and whatnot, and it's just like I don't know. Whenever I see that, it's like my perspective is better than yours, so I want to spread whatever I want over here because potentially they're low information people, and I can probably get them on my train. I don't
Well,
know.
to be fair, I'll be a little bit more charitable. The guy, the notes in his diary was saying shit like that. This was like the last island of Satan or whatever. That these people needed to be freed with God's word or whatever. I think this is what he was writing in his diary. I'm sure he was committed to his mission or whatever, of actually believing that he was saving people with the word of God.
Okay, and that's there was another thing here too. I wish I had more on this, but there's a particular reason why make sure I say this right here. The Sentinel
Sentinelese or
yeah,
Sentinelese?
Sentinelese. Yeah, I had it earlier, and I in my head I mentally had it prepared to pronounce it correctly. I still said it wrong. Sorry. But yeah, the Sentinelese. They the reason why they are so hostile to foreigners now. They were not always so before, but there was apparently a gentleman who had visited them prior back in the year 1880, and this guy who went over there particularly was really obsessed with like I don't want to use the word objectifying them, but like he did a lot of really weird shit, like measuring their heights, their weights, their penises, measuring the children's their weights and everything else. I'm just trying to get into some like really deep stuff there. I need to look further into it, honestly. Maybe I can do a follow up on this next week here, but because I want to like give you like a more broad narrative on the whole thing. But like yeah, the apparently whatever he did was very not cool, and they felt objectified, and they eventually killed him. And then they just said fuck all foreigners at that point.
Sure.
But I have to look further into it here. But yeah, the guy's name, if you want to look further into it, his name is Maurice Vidal Portman, is the guy who visited the island in 1880 when they weren't always hostile, but whatever he did on the island led to them thinking that all foreigners are going to be like this one really weird guy here, and kind of told him all the fuck off. He might have been a missionary too. Honestly, I don't know. I have to look further into it. I apologize. I didn't get that ready in time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's that question. You have anything else to follow up with that one here, or you want to move on?
No, I mean it's kind of an interesting situation, but not much else to say.
Cool. So I got one here. This one seems kind of like bait, but I think we can have me and you can have a fun talk on this one here. Someone here asked, is the Nintendo fighting game franchise Super Smash Brothers a legitimate fighting game or a casual party game? And I find this one interesting because it's a case of perhaps what you would think versus the perception of what it actually is. But do you find this one even worth talking about, or you want to?
Yeah, so like labels are things that people use to. Or it seems like sometimes we want like the prestige attached to a label, and we don't really care so much about what we're actually describing. Like before we went live, I was talking, like whether it's a fighting game or a party game. I mean, is it a fighting game? Well, I don't know. Like Smash does a lot of things that are kind of unconventional. Like aren't most fighting games these days 3-dimensional? Like you can move you can sidestep around like an arena. I don't know if you can do that in Super Smash at all. And maybe most fighting games have combos and whatnot that are a little bit more extreme than in Smash, and you've got like bars and meters to to go up. I mean, I don't know, like in terms of ways that you define like a fighting game. I guess like Super Smash doesn't meet all of those, or at least on the servers, as somebody that doesn't pay attention to them. Like it seems like it doesn't meet that bar. But I mean, in terms of it having like an incredibly high skill ceiling, in terms of there being people that can like, it's very obvious if you see somebody that's very good at Smash and somebody that's bad, it's not random chance by one person will consistently beat them, 100 times out of 100 times. So yeah, I don't know. When I hear people throw around party game, it seems like they're just trying to say the game is shit, or they don't like it, or it's a low skill ceiling game, rather than accurately trying to describe the game itself.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. Actually, yeah, it becomes more of an argument of semantics, where it's like we have to figure out like what we're defining as a legitimate fighting game, because it sounds like a very holier than thou take on whatever game you think is not that, and what is that.
Yeah.
Well, just a quick follow up here about that though. So 3D fighting games, actually 3D fighting games are not the massively popular ones. Honestly, it's more like traditional 2D fighting games like Street Fighter.
Oh, like the old Street Fighter. Okay, sure, gotcha. I played a lot of Tekken. And I think in Tekken you could go sidestep, right? But maybe not.
Correct. Yeah, Tekken, Soul Calibur 6, and whatnot.
Okay.
The thing about those games, though, that I find it's a because you have more options of movement. It's debatably a deeper skill ceiling. So whenever you have 3D movement come into play, it's more what you see in those games at a high skill level is you're seeing more footsies and searching for an opening to do a launch to a combo. So it's a lot of like navigating around and really doing like micro movements in the 3D space to do things. So you're seeing less player x player interaction and more. And this is again, sure example here is going to be like competitive Tekken, where you're doing a lot of footsies into getting combos started for launches in 3D space. But because there's no 3D space in Street Fighter, for example, it's a 2D space. It's more about just get zone pressure, get to a corner, and then get fucked. So you have more player x player interaction. So debatably, it's easier to follow from a spectator standpoint. That's probably why you're seeing those games have a higher draw and viewer retention and watching compared to 3D space games, because the whole technicality of appreciating the 3D spacing is probably lost on the most casual of viewers. Though I do see Tekken getting strong numbers ever since the release of Tekken 7, though. So there is that as well. But I just wanted to elaborate quickly on that particular point here. Sure. But yeah, I agree that this question though is I kind of hate it, because like it's really like herder, Smash is different than the traditional bar and meter fighting game, and I find that because it's different, it's or because it's intended by the creator to be a casual party game, that it's like that it's supposed to be only as such, when it's really not though. Like what's intended to be versus what's actually used for are two very different things, right? So, but yeah, this is like a question that doesn't really go anywhere, because it's just like a labeling game.
Yeah, really. One of the what it reminds me of a lot is in my neck of the woods, people would get really mad when you would call Dota a MOBA. You remember this or hear about this?
Oh, no,
So League of Legends.
In my common day now, I hear Dota referred to as a MOBA. I don't hear any.
So Dota kids actually fucking hated that. Okay, and what you would say is, you're like, oh, Dota, that's a MOBA, right? No, League is a MOBA. Dota is an ARTS, an action real-time strategy. I'm like, what the fuck does that even fucking mean? Are you serious? Like, I remember people used to say that shit to me all the fucking time. When a long time ago, when I used to like, oh yeah, Dota and League are like two MOBAs. They're like, no, Dota's not a MOBA. It is an ARTS. Like, what? Really? People actually like. So yeah, I see people will like gatekeep with labels and shit all the time, and it's just like kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can just tell from the tone alone of how you have to deliver it. It's like Yeah, it's deeper, it's more technical. Which, to be fair, I'm a total noob at the whole MOBA scene, but I hear a lot of things actually. People shit on League all the time, and I hear people always say that Dota is like League but better, but and like with more depth, and then like a raccoon could operate a league player,
sure,
or a league game or whatever. I don't know. We have to talk about. You have to school me one day. I actually would love to have you just elaborate on like, because I'm so out of the loop on the MOBA thing that like I find the whole the macro picture of it very, very fascinating socially. So I'd love to just like, have Destiny narrate to me like the history of like, League 10 years later and Dota wherever it is now.
Sure. Did you ever play like the Call of Duty Blackout or PUBG or whatever?
No, I'm also out behind loop in that. I want to play BRs because I feel like I should know more about the modern what's popping on Twitch. I don't want to be like a grandfather who doesn't play anything. But my agenda there is to like learn keyboard mouse first. Like I want to play through like.
I keep forgetting you're like a fucking console gamer.
Yeah, I'm a dirty console peasant.
Yeah.
from speed running and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to get on KBM, and because I feel like I should obviously, right, I need to learn. I need to go to KBM first before I do any of these other things here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea. I familiarize myself with the input method of KBM, and then I get into other things at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, fun questions. I figured it was a fun bait question here. All right, so the next one here I got for you. Oh, it's a doozy, man. So we haven't talked about I don't think we've ever like really name dropped other particular high profile people other than Trainwreck so far here, as far as like specific people on the podcast with topics. But
Mm-hmm.
here's one I got for you here right now that I have feelings for too here. It reads here: do you think Boogie 1488, as opposed to 2599 or whatever the original name is, will ever stop saying stupid centrist shit and then getting flames on Twitter? Do you think he's purposely doing it?
I think that people think that their opinion is better if it borrows from both sides. Like the goodness of their opinion can be found in how many positions or how like central they stay to like. I don't even I understand the desire. So basically, like in my mind, like what is a centrist? Right? A centrist is probably somebody that isn't strictly defined by either party's lines, but it's probably somebody that maybe borrows a little bit from both sides. So like I would consider myself to be somewhat of a centrist, right? I'm very big on redistributive policies economically, which makes me left-leaning. I'm very big on like I'm very progressive socially, so very pro-trans rights, very pro-gay rights and everything. So that'd make me like a left-leaning, person. But I'm also big on gun rights. I'm very big on freedom of speech. I think these things make me a little bit more right-leaning. Very big on capitalism. Probably makes me more right-leaning, depending on what we're talking about. So like I would consider myself to be somewhat of a centrist. I don't think I hardcore align with any particular party, although I would always vote Democrat right now.
Right.
But it feels like what other people feel when they see centrist is they're thinking like, okay, centrist must mean that both sides are making good points on any particular issue, right? So if you ask me, so I consider myself a centrist. If you ask me, what do I think about climate change? I would say the Democrats are 100% in the right on climate change. End of discussion, full stop. There is no conversation to be had here. Whereas people will say like, oh, okay, well, hold on, like, now, these people are saying something about climate change on this side, but these people are also saying something, and I think we should listen to both sides. And they'll do this with every single topic. They'll do this with climate change. They'll do this with Nazi history revision. They'll do this with should black people be genetically inferior to white. Every single issue, they'll do the both sides. It's like, well, hold on. Like, this guy's making some good points. Maybe we should listen to that. And this guy, so like, I'm going to be a centrist by putting myself in the middle. And that seems to be how people define themselves as centrists these days. Like, that gives them more credit or whatever. Yeah.
No, yeah, actually, it reminds me a lot of the stupid shit that CNN does. Like CNN, in particular, of the mainstream media is the one I get so aggravated with because they do this stupid thing. I'm sorry, minor derail here. They do this stupid thing where it's like, oh well, we'll see here. Today we're going to debate climate change. Right now, I have a scientist and I have this right-leaning, totally paid-for corporate spokesperson. They both have great points. So let's go ahead and have a debate on climate change right now. And then the two people argue for like 40 minutes or whatever, and it's like. Like this, it's like a forced neutrality. It's like there is science, there is data. I forget the statistic right now offhand here, but what 97% of scientific data reinforces that climate changes, the changes that are happening right now, are going to be bad and do have some man-made complications involved with them in some capacity.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're going to just take that and say, yeah, well, that's only half the argument. And we got this other guy here who's a corporate chill piece of shit who's going to lie about things to get a fat payday and whatnot.
Yeah.
And God, that forced neutrality bias for in terms of like encompassing here for centralism. Ugh, yeah. And particularly here, the reason why I wanted to read this topic as well is I have something to contribute to it. I know you have prior distaste for whenever he does the centrist thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was a point. There was one tweet in question. I have to look for it further here. That Boogie was like being a Confederacy apologist. It was like some like, it was like something. I think maybe like a bill of sale for like a slave, right? And he was like, see, but is it really so bad because it wasn't considered so taboo back then. So I'm sure if that person had our modern morality now, that he would have felt more bad about that then. And it's like, what? I don't know. It was kind of to that tone there. If you want
What
to
is this in relation to?
Selling of a slave. It was of selling of a slave in the South in the Confederate United States in the previous century.
So Boogie was saying that if they would have had our morality now, they would have felt bad doing it or something?
Yeah,
Oh,
essentially.
so kind of like the more relativism. Yeah, he might be correct, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why would you bring it up? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if I dig far, I can probably find it further. The
Sure.
whole thing was like at a very very sour
Does
reception.
anybody have a
The
link to these
thing
tweets?
was
Actually, I would like to read them. I'm curious how he states that. Yeah.
let me
One thing I find very interesting is that Republicans are always quick to point out that Republicans were the party of Lincoln, and they're the ones that were pro-civil rights, and Democrats were opposed to it. But when you look to see who's defending all the Confederacy shit today, it always seems to be the Republicans. It's kind of strange. I don't know. Like when they talk about like the Confederate monuments and the flags and shit, like it's kind of interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, it's something, all right. I apologize, y'all. I have to dig for it.
Oh yeah, no,
'Cause I
I'm
had
hoping
to.
chat produces it. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing out there?
The tweet in question is like a couple of weeks old now. It might have been like a not gonna lie, it might be an October tweet at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you look for it, you can probably find it. You'll know it got like a lot of. Look for the one with the highest reply count. You'll know it's probably the one
Mm-hmm.
because you all know on Twitter typically the higher the reply count, the more that means the original tweet was a massive disagreement.
Yeah. If there's a lot of
Yeah.
tweets into that, yeah.
Let's just move on here now. There's okay. Here's one I thought was actually really interesting here. Do you? Or I'm sorry. Next question, if you don't mind, while they're producing that here. Do you guys think there will ever be a Black Panther of video games, as in a video game made and performed primarily by Black people with a culturally significant message? And to that, I'm like, okay. So first off, I never even thought of that as a concept, like an all Black dev team for a video game that has a cultural message or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But two, it's just like this. My answer is going to be like no, because right now we're in a particularly toxic era of modern gaming, at least as far as AAA publications go. That I don't think like the the budget required to produce something of Black Panther production level requires a budget that's way too high that wouldn't involve in some capacity some major publisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and I don't see with modern gaming right now anything like this ever happening anytime soon, and have it not be like a super synthetic shit show of a time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think here? What do you think about that?
I'd be careful firstly with the framing of the question that like African issues aren't necessarily African American issues. I'd be really careful with that.
No, and I actually I agree with that too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I would hope so because you're American, not African, right? That's very strange because it almost kind of be like phrasing like for all of the Asian people that live in the United States, like, are we going to see more movies about Japanese history that like they're going to feel strongly about or something to like represent them? And it's like, well, a lot of these Asian people would just say they're American. So yeah, so I'd be careful. Just for not for you, but for the person that asked the question, just and how you phrase that could be taken kind of weirdly or seen a little weirdly. In terms of having like a Black centric game, I guess like the Black Panthers, I feel like I remember that there was an example of this with a Black lead character, but I can't remember it right now. But I mean, I'm sure at some point we'll get something like we've seen like lots of games now with better women protagonists and whatnot. Wasn't the new Assassin's Creed a woman protagonist?
Yes, Assassin's Creed Odyssey had a
Yeah.
woman protagonist. Yeah,
I was gonna say
I don't know how interwoven though the narrative, because I think you can play as a man or woman in that one if I recall correctly. I could be wrong.
Oh,
about that.
maybe you
Don't quote
can,
me
and
on
maybe
that.
I chose the woman for memes or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember. Was it GTA 4? Which one did you play as? Was it CJ?
No, that was San Andreas. GTA 4,
that was San Andreas.
you were Nico Bellic.
Gotcha. Although I guess that's not like culturally sensitive issues, maybe, or depending on what you look at. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see a game like a video game that's kind of like Black Panther, but for video games. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and not only that, you're seeing here too that we're getting more progressive, which I am seeing more representation with more female protagonists going on here with the modern Tomb Raider, the modern Tomb Raider reboot taking a more tamed approach to humanizing Lara Croft. I haven't played. Pause there though. I'm just bringing up things that are happening. I'm not necessarily saying that Tomb Raider is good now. I haven't played the new Tomb Raiders. Actually, I don't know anything about their new stories, honestly, so I can't comment on those in particular here. Both the 2013 game and the sequel, Rise of Tomb Raider or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't played them, so I don't even know what happens to them at all whatsoever. But what's interesting here though about that is the fact that wasn't there some drama about Battlefield 5? Was that
About
the
that
right
girl
one
with the prosthetics or whatever.
yeah, like the girl was the cover when the box art was revealed that the girl's in the cover of the game. Like there was like a big reaction that was like, and I can't tell if the reaction was from a minority or a majority here, but there was a big reaction because it's like, I don't know, because the idea, from what I understand, was girls didn't fight on the front line in World War II, but in Battlefield 5 or whichever Battlefield it was, I'm pretty sure it was that the newest one coming out now. That you see women depicted as fighting alongside men in the front line in the war. And that pissed them off because it wasn't historically accurate or whatever, or something like that. And it's like, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe that I can't tell if that was like just like a knee jerk reaction from some insecure men, or if like these historical fetishists think, or I don't even know. I have to look further into it, honestly.
I don't believe in historical fetishists when it comes to fucking Battlefield. There's just I think we've had that conversation on this, haven't we, before? Where the people that like obsess over.
No, please.
Oh well, like when that trailer came out for Battlefield 5, a lot of people talk about historical accuracy and whatnot, and it's like, okay, but like all the I feel like I've given this speech like 5 times on my stream, but like, so basically,
sorry, if you don't talk about it, we don't.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm trying to make sure I'm not telling you the same thing multiple times, but yeah, basically, like, people would email me like, oh, like the historical part of Battlefield is actually, really important. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. So firstly, the idea that they should, because a lot of people say like they should have shown a woman on the Eastern Front, and it's like, okay, but like there only has to be one woman that ever fought in the entire World War II side on the Western Front for it to be okay. Like it's not like there needed to be a fuck ton of women, firstly. And then secondly, like you never make these same demands for a man. Like people were saying that like it should have been a real historical female figure. Well, okay, but every man you play in a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game or whatever is always like a nondescript white guy. You don't need it to be a historical figure there. Why do you need it to be one for a woman? And then like for the reasons why people love Battlefield, like Battlefield is a game that's not historically accurate in a fuck ton of different ways. Like the gunplay in Battlefield games is hilariously fucking unrealistic, and then like a lot of the compilations, it got to the point where when people would email me saying, well, actually, Steven, here's the real historical argument for why people are upset, I would just start emailing them back the big compilation clips of people jumping out of their planes while doing a loop-to-loop rocket launching another plane and then landing back on their plane. And I'd be like, I don't see this.
Yeah, that clip is crazy.
There's tons of people that do that. It's like people make compilation out of that, and it's like, okay, but like, if people are people don't seem to be complaining in the comment section about the unrealisticness of this, but it's like, okay.
All right, I just want to elaborate there real quick for everyone listening right now. Like there is one of the most viral clips from I think it was Battlefield 1. It was a guy who like was flying a jet, ejected out of the jet, and then no scoped another guy in a jet. I don't even know how the hitbox is even active when you're inside the jet in the first place here. And then as he's falling down because it's already at terminal velocity, falls to the jet the guy he sniped out of, takes his jet, and then kills another guy with it.
Yeah.
It was like super fucking badass. But yeah, like just like, oh yeah, no, I love the idea of this like giant email chain of this like fat ass like TLDR 5-paragraph narrative of like historical accuracy, and then you just reply with the like Omega Law. Here's a clip of that montage. So it's really, really good, dude. That's really good. So yeah, there's that topic there. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, so these are this one here was more at me. Actually, no, we'll take a second. You want to take one that's targeted at you?
Sure, why not?
Like, okay, I guess while you're looking at that, I'll I have one here that's targeted at me. That I thought was interesting here. Trihex, do you think that you have done enough to fight against the racism and bigotry deeply rooted in Twitch/greater nerd culture? Have I done enough to fight the racism?
The first question here should be, do you have an obligation to? And then I would go.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, do I have an obligation to on the first front here? And the answer is not really, because it doesn't really involve anything particularly of me. Like that's implying that the emote is my responsibility to maintain that it's not used for things. But again, it's my responsibility to maintain the emote's not used in a communication realm where there's mass unaccountability. Like, I don't know, being mad at like calling the WAN, calling for the internet police to come enforce hurtful things being said by anonymous users is like, to me, not really an effective use of time. Like, and also not only that, like the really way to really enforce this is to have like some kind of implication of mass censorship, so that those things don't get out even under unaccountable users on Twitch or really any realm whatsoever. And I think that does way more damage there than the good that it would do from it. Like having some kind of overlaying mass censorship which would mean again having, in my opinion, that's having some kind of like overall user accountability. And what that would mean is some kind of way of like, Big Brother in 1984, where it's like I know, when I see MILF Hunter 14 on Twitch chat, I can click his name and I see his like, to some degree, some level of accountability. I'd be able to see their real name or their Google history or something tethered to them to make them feel a little more accountable for what they say and do. And at that point, you're gonna live in some crazy society where everyone has a big stick up their ass, metaphorically here, to not piss anyone else off here, or to just not have candid conversation ever.
I'm such a fan of. I've gotten so Nazi in my beliefs, dude. I want social security numbers and Facebook accounts tied to every online account. Fuck this shit. That's what I fucking want. Hell yeah. Fuck these kids. That's what I want. Fucking anonymity. If you want to fucking talk some crazy shit, I want to know where the fuck you live, dude. That's what I want. Fuck this shit. Sorry, go ahead. I'm very jaded.
On a minor tangent there, I do love the idea of a hypothetical Twitch game show where like the biggest keyboard warrior in chat like tells you that, Destiny, man, you fucking suck at League, bro. Like I'd love to see a game show where like you offer like a cash prize, like something lucrative, like like $500, right? I will offer you $500, come 1v1 me, but you got to use webcam. Like I would love to see like people would actually show up this kind of thing, like
most of those encounters are actually probably super disappointing. I remember I've had a couple in the past where there's some guy like just saying crazy, insightful, hateful fucking shit in my chat, and I finally bring him on to talk, and I'm like, all right, dude, like the fuck is up? And he'll be like, oh well, I kind of thought it was kind of funny. I was just trolling you, dude. Like I don't actually hate you or anything. It's like,
oh, he downplayed it.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like the fuck, you don't understand, like. The shit you're saying is like pretty fucking hurtful, my dude. Like you're going real hard. He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be like that. I just say crazy shit in chat because I want you to see it. And I'm like,
okay. He wanted dad to notice him.
And you get like super blue balled on it. Like I was ready for it to be some dude that was gonna defend his opinions, and I was gonna go fucking hard on it, but it was just like some random cat. And then I feel bad. It's like, okay, whatever. That's why I like the YouTube comments more. It humanizes the fuck out of a person. Like when I see some random dude like talking mad shit on my fucking YouTube, and then I click through to his channel and he's got like 52 uploads of him like playing one game, and it's his mom commenting on every fucking video, and every video is like 3 views. Like, all right, dude, like this dude's life is fucking shit. I understand. Like fuck it. Okay.
Damn, Destiny with a 900 IQ right there. I feel it, man. I feel it. Well, what were we talking about here again? It was what was the question here again? I'm sorry. So yeah, have I done enough to fight against racism? So yeah, I don't think I have an obligation to do that. I agree with that, honestly. And bigotry deeply rooted in Twitch/greater nerd culture. That's so vague right there, honestly. Bigotry deeply rooted in Twitch. That is a topic to define exactly the boundaries of. And then within greater nerd culture, is bigotry really that much of a problem in the greater nerd culture as well?
I'd say probably, yeah. Look at the fucking whiplash when the people thought a black girl was gonna be casted as Ciri in The Witcher. Woo! People got real mad about that shit. Oh shit!
You are right. I never can tell if that's like what is the quantity of people that have those extreme.
Oh yeah, versus just the no. You're probably right.
Yeah, that's
probably
the thing.
Minority.
Because there's also the same thing for the because there's definitely that too in the I mean, shit. And the new live action DC show Titans, the Teen Titans live action show that's already out on DC Universe. Terrible, by the way. Whenever people saw that it was a black woman depicted as Starfire, who's an alien, by the way. Let's just get out of the way here, so it's not really an obligation for it to be anything at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
People now, mind you, the costume design looks terrible because the show has like a shoestring budget or whatever. But
sure.
Yeah, people were really upset that it was like, why the fuck is Starfire black? And it's like, why is she alien? Because I don't know. I found that one questionable too, but I didn't even find that was worth really reporting on because it's like I can't tell how many of those people are just like, is it like 3 idiots barking in an echo chamber, or is it like a couple hundred or a couple thousand?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I can't tell between that one either. And then you also have the big fallout between. And this is a very very low topic here, so I apologize if I'm just going to bring it up in like blue ball y'all. But then you have the whole thing about Star Wars Episode 8, Last Jedi, because like
oh god, yeah. That Star Wars Episode 7 was actually just a movie about a white man losing his powers and being cucked by a black man. Like, oh god, yeah, there's so many. Yeah, people got so fucking mad about Rey and not Poe. Poe was the name of the pilot guy. God, what's the name of the black guy? Fuck.
Finn.
Finn, yeah.
Black guy.
People
Black
got
guy's Finn.
so fucking mad about Ray and Finn. Like, oh, of course it's a woman lead and a black man. Of course. Like, why the fuck does it matter, dude? Why are you so mad?
That's not even the problem. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go into a bag of worms right now, but that's not even my biggest problem with. My problem is the freaking the starship or the ship captain, the purple haired lady.
Oh, that she was like a triggered SJW woman or whatever.
Not even okay. So at appearance level, yeah, you could say that. No, it's the fact that who was the ace pilot? The cool
Poe.
The hothead Poe. Yeah. It's the fact that whenever like the most glaring thing here is you're not even gonna tell Poe who's a decent ranking officer what the fuck the plan is. Like the plan is just trust me.
I'm sorry. Don't misunderstand.
Trust me.
Don't misunderstand me. Episode 8 was fucking horrible. For a large number of reasons. Yeah, I'm not sitting here defending the movie. I don't think she was bad because it was a woman or because she had purple hair, but because the character was fucking stupid. Why the fuck would she keep that plan hidden? Yeah, that was so dumb. Yeah, also, I like that like 90% of the surviving rebels died because of that side mission, but like nobody even mentions that. There's like no consequence to that. You notice that? Because those people went off planet to find that codebreaker guy, like 90% of the rebels escaping end up getting shot and killed because the only reason they can see them was because that codebreaker guy gave them the ability to see the stealth ships. Nobody brings that up, that they literally like 90% of their fucking surviving people are dead because of that. Like,
right.
But okay.
Are we doing this right now? Because like, I'm getting triggered right now. Like, look, the entire casino subplot garbage.
Yep.
The celebrating at the end whenever 90% of the people or the rebellion's already dead. Our resistance is already dead. Garbage. What fuck was the other thing here too? You brought up a thing and I got re-triggered again about it. Fuck, what was it? Fuck. Oh my god, dude. There so many things, dude. Hang on, wait. What was it, dude? Even just Finn's character arc is unsatisfying. Like there's oh my god, dude.
The thing is that in episode 7 it seemed pretty promising. It seemed okay. I actually liked episode 7. I thought it was okay. Let me put it this way: it was way better than any of the prequels. Period. Not even fucking close. Episode 7 was way better than any of the prequels. But episode 8 just fucking failed on every fucking mark. Yeah, every character arc was non-existent. Well, Ray's character was kind of developed, but like Ray, like it felt like in episode 8.
I'm sorry that even on Ray, I have to shit on that there. Honestly, what pisses me off whenever what's his name? Stoke.
Yeah, Stoke. I think. Yeah.
Stoke. Whatever the. Fucking I don't know. Whatever. Toad face guy. Whenever Ray and him. I'm sorry, y'all. Massive spoilers for episode 8. By the way, we're already getting that now. So whatever. Fuck it. It's been 2 years to get over it now, or it's been a year and some change. Whatever. After the big fight happens in the Red Room, and then like Kylo Ren wakes up from the battle, and it's like, oh god, where's everybody at? It's like, okay, one completely off camera here, unexplained here. Ray wakes up before him, finds an escape pod on the Rebel ship, escapes the ship to another planet, and then does more shit. Like all of these things happen off camera. It's just like, wait, what? All that. So you wait, that's right. So in your script here, you found it was important to dedicate 30 minutes to some stupid fucking casino subplot about environmentalism and animal abuse or whatever, and an already theme bloated script in the first place here, and not cover that. Really, that's what that grinds my gears so hard, dude. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna believe all this down, like just Ray is like fucking, or whatever, she's just like unreal, dude. Yeah.
I like how episode 8 retcons like everything that we thought in episode 7, but does it like in the most unsatisfying way. Like the fact that Ray, for instance, has no parents or whatever is like, oh, okay, well, I guess that was never important. Okay, so we were never meant to speculate on that, I guess. So that all got thrown out, unless that gets retconned in episode 9, and they do give her some important lineage. Although I don't think they will, because in episode 8 it showed those kids at the very end using the Force. So I think the theme was supposed to be that like, oh, like anybody can become Force sensitive or whatever, which is whatever. The whole mirror scene and everything was like really weird with Ray. I didn't get it that much. I don't think it was that good. And then.
Oh wait! I remember now. Remember what I was triggered by? I'm sorry. What I was triggered by is the hyperdrive scene. Where it's epic silent and like she
where she cuts through the ship.
Yeah. She goes into hyperdrive and like kamikazes through the other ship. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. So if you're gonna kamikaze through a ship, so that means that any other time in Star Wars, whenever you're getting gunned the fuck down, you're about to blow up and die, you could just 180 and say, if I'm already gonna die anyway, or I'm almost out of fuel, I'm just gonna go ahead and 180 and warp drive through your fucking ass, and we're gonna go for a trade, bitch. Go
Yeah, that was
face.
just kind of weird to add that in because now it's like that seems like one of the most powerful weapons in the universe, and for
Yeah,
a whole bunch of
that's
physics reasons, like if you're gonna send something with that speed into something else, like literally an X-wing should be able to take out like the largest fucking destroyer or capital ship like ever. Yeah.
yeah. So that will be I'm sure it's gonna be a very fun retcon job for all the writers involved there. But
Hmm.
just to conclude this whole point here about episode, and I'm sorry, I know I triggered the whole thing here.
Yeah.
We're gonna back to the Reddit QA in a second here. Is that here's the problem now? So J.J. Abrams is signed on to do episode 9. I'm sure they paid him an absolute fuckload of money. Probably got a record deal in terms of a director being paid for a single feature. Probably has to be easily north of $30 million. Like I can't imagine. I can't even imagine what they had to convince him to say. Like, hey, listen, I know that Ryan Johnson did this shit show of a script here, but we need you to come in and figure it out or whatever. Like, fucking figure it out. And it's like I will go see episode 9, but not because I was engaged in episode 8, but more so because what do you even do at this point? Like
You have to wrap everything up. Yeah.
yeah, like so many things that were built up in 7 are closed off in 8, and it's like I don't even know where you would even go anymore. I put myself in a scenario like, okay, if I was a creative writing exercise here, if I was to move on from what's been established in 8 here, what the fuck do I do? I'm just like I don't even know, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It is I don't know, dude. So I will go to 9 for like the reasons that are not the engaging ones that Disney wants me to think, honestly. So also just for big context here, y'all. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I am like all the, are you a Trekkie or are you a Star Wars guy? I'm neither. I am not a massive I do want to get into Star Trek further. I want to watch Next Generation. I really, really, really want to get into it further, but I haven't had the time. But yeah, I am at best a passing casual on Star Wars. I was not there for nostalgia fever. I didn't watch any Star Wars until like I was like fucking 25 or whatever, or not 25, like 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I'm coming at this from like an external view from all people who are like, who watched 4, 5, 6, and then get burned because they hate 1, 2, and 3, and then they're happy because the new deal happens, and then now you have or Disney purchased Lucasfilm for $13.5 billion a couple years back, and then now you're seeing Star Wars churned out like yearly Assassin's Creed films now, where you're getting like one every year, whether you want it or not.
Yeah. Well, I think they scrap the Obi-Wan shit. Weren't they gonna make an Obi-Wan movie and they scrapped it?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So there were plans for a Boba Fett solo film, the Han Solo film, and I think Obi-Wan was another one here too. But yeah, because Han Solo, in their quote unquote according to their own projections here, flopped box office wise, revenue wise. They're slowing, in their words, are slowing down production of additional films. They're slowing it down a little bit here because
that solo film was
it's
so
either
bad.
It's either like Star Wars fatigue or whatever. But yeah, I mean, even then I had very mixed feelings on Rogue One in the first place. And I'm sorry, I'm sitting here derailing further about Star Wars here. I apologize, but like, yeah, it's like I already kind of saw like, because to me it's like, is this really just a 2-hour film to retcon the weakness of the Death Star? Is that this entire film right now? Which is cool, it's sure, whatever, right? But like the problem is like I'm sorry, Gary, again, spoilers here for Rogue One here, but like, I'm sorry, y'all. A finale 35-minute segment does not make a good 2-hour film. That the first 90 minutes is like very whatever, and then the final 35 minutes is like, sure, it's a well shot action sequence, but is it a good film overall?
Wait, what are you talking about right now?
Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to remember at the end of Solo what that 30-minute action sequence was. I mixed them up. Oh yeah, no, fuck. I thought Rogue One was like one of the worst movies I've ever seen too. Yeah. Fuck. But yeah, fuck. We could go off on these for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So did you ever find a question that you found for yourself?
Nope. I'm totally relying on you for these.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. There was All right, so I have another one here that was at me that I thought was good, but I'll roll it to you and tell me what you think here. At me, trihex. Are you scared to bring up politics on stream in fear of alienating viewers? And then part 2 here, especially with being liberal leaning and amongst a website filled mostly with reactionary right wingers. God, I find this topic so interesting here because again, like, is Twitch really filled with reactionary right wingers?
I think it depends on whose chat you're in, but man, dude, if I ever go into if I ever go to like Asmongold's stream or like if
Uh-huh.
I'm on Chance's stream or whatever, and we start talking about anything political, holy shit, that chat gets real fucking right leaning, real fucking quick. God damn, like,
Really?
oh yeah, holy shit, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go back to the question here. So yeah, I need to do more like collaborations, and because I feel like I'm not cultured enough in the Twitch ecosystem in its entirety to know useful statistics on like demographics and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Am I scared to bring up politics on stream in fear of alienating viewers? No, actually, I've actually been doing since the podcast. I've felt more confident about doing that more often.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that more than ever. Actually, just recently, just I believe just yesterday we were talking about we were for shitposting purposes here. I've become kind of like you now in a sense, Destiny, where I feel like whenever you put on Minecraft, you're kind of it's your maybe maybe I'm wrong here. You can tell me if I'm wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that Minecraft's like your passive game of choice? Like it's like the game you're playing to play a game and do something, but
Yeah,
you're
and
just
you can
kind of
chat while
it's just
doing
there
it.
to
Yeah.
you're just chilling, you're getting a vibe for the chat and what you want to talk about that day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same sense here, when I play Mario Maker, I'm just playing, I'm playing like hard Mario levels. I kind of just like pause and like talk to chat over whatever topics come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become more and more my passive game. And at one point here, the conversation derailed yesterday or day before yesterday into my take on libertarianism. To which case I was like, I didn't back down from it. I was like, well, I don't know about it, so I can't talk about enough here. But I was like, no, well, while I feel like libertarian candidates in general are abysmal, I would love to hear from you guys more about, what you think an ideal libertarianism policy looks like and encompasses in theory here. Like when you want to see it, if it actually had good execution and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing I have to go off of here is the comically terrible 2006 libertarian candidate conference that happened.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So that was a complete shit show. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not here, but it was pretty funny.
I'm not. I followed Aleppo Johnson though through the 2016
Yeah,
nomination period
was,
and everything. He had a few blunders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, no. So what happened was Gary Johnson, who was running as a third party, was running under the third party libertarian party for the chat for the 2016 presidential election in USA. He came out as the primary candidate from that conference, but the people you saw there who were competing against him to get under that party were actually insane. They just wanted like no regulation on anything, dude. It's like, yeah, man, you need a license to drive a car, man. That's not next. You're gonna need a license to
I saw clips of this, and Gary Johnson was like, "Oh, well, I think maybe having a license for a car is an okay thing," and everybody fucking booed the shit out of him.
Yeah, people. Oh, dude, yeah, dude, that whole you gotta like that. Planet Florida is what I would call that. That is just Planet Florida. I don't know what to even say about that. Have at it, bro. You wanna, in their mind, they want you to be able to just like, hey, look, if I can buy a rocket ship, I want to buy a rocket ship and I want to fly that shit. I don't need airspace regulation. I don't need a rocket license. I don't need shit. It's my shit. I'm gonna fly whatever the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
If people die, I'll deal with the consequence here. Sure, whatever. But like, it's my thing. I want to fly it. And it's like it's just like peak Florida right there. I don't even know what to even say about that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm not scared to bring up things anymore. I've actually grown a little more confident to get into the politics stuff here, especially whenever it's like blatantly negative things that I feel need to be brought to more light and/or I feel passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly because I live in Louisiana. Someone had asked me yesterday as well here about the Senate race in Mississippi. It's a Senate race, right? Where again, I need to look further into it here. Forgive me because I'm not in Mississippi personally to be in the know already here, but the female Republican candidate beat out the Democratic candidate, and she was caught or a viral video run around here where she made a joke about lynching. Again, I need to know the context here, but from what I hear, it was a joke in very, very poor taste. Almost as bad as the whole monkey it up comment that was made against Andrew Gillum.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was like a joke about lynching or hanging people or something like that. And then not only did she not apologize for it, she like doubled down on like don't get offended snowflakes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to look further into it here. But yeah, point is she won. She won, and people in my chat were upset because it's like here's this like debatably racist lady winning in Mississippi, and where are the voters at right now? So I don't know. I'd look further into it here, but that was we were talking about that for a little bit too. So yeah, I think I don't back down anymore actually.
Did
I
you
don't back
remember
down
when
because
during Hillary Clinton, I think it was Bill de Blasio or whatever, where they made that CPT joke?
no, what the biggest blunder I always hear from Hillary Clinton's election trail was the whole let's Pokemon, let's go to the polls. That's always the one. That one and the tweet one of her staffers made, which was like
Mm-hmm.
hey college students, describe your student debt in 3 emojis or less.
Oh
And it
yeah.
was like so comically dumbed down to like do you just think that like you think the average 22-year-old is speaking Facebook Ebonics and
Yeah. The
it was just oh my god.
Hillary had a weird blunder where they wrote a joke and she came out and she said she was late and the guy was I think the De Blasio guy asked her like why are you late? Are you running on CP time? And the joke there is CP time is colored people time, right? Because apparently that's like the racist joke or whatever. And
Oh,
Hillary was like, fuck, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but I think then Hillary's like, whoa, what do you mean? I don't like that joke. And he's like, oh, I mean cautious politician time. It was like,
that was just
yeah, it was like a really like I think Obama actually mentioned this joke in the in his 2018 or his 2016 correspondence dinner where he was like he mentioned it. He was like yeah, CP time, which stands for jokes white people probably shouldn't make when they're running for president or something. Like some really, oh man, dude, watching that was like super fucking sweats today. I can't believe they thought that was a good joke to write. Holy shit.
yikes, dude. Well, speaking of that though, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, man,
Uh-huh.
there was some recent development from that too, actually. And I'm sorry, I'm derailing here again here, but it's
Yeah.
a one. I'm not really a fan of the dinner at all as a concept here, because I feel like it's just like it's just
Really?
really weird. Well, it's this really weird thing where it's like the press kind of like get giddy with the White House, and like shouldn't they be more separated to have like
I
more
think they
neutral?
should, but like maybe I would have said this more like 10 years ago when I didn't think half my country is like full of potentially fucking Nazis. But like I like the idea that every now and then we can kind of just take a deep breath and chill and like kind of be funny and friendly and remember that there are human people on both sides and everything and we can all just kind of like laugh at each other. Because I'm pretty sure for most of Obama's things, I think he like poked fun at both sides quite a bit. I read him. He called out Bernie. He was like, "What's up, Bernie? How you doing, comrade?" Like just like dumb things like that. I don't know. I think that kind of thing, or at least for Obama's correspondence dinners, I felt like most
No,
of them were pretty
I'll
lighthearted.
agree.
But yeah,
Obama's dinner was probably the best watch out of any of them in quite a long time.
or fucking
But
when Colbert got invited at the Bush White House to do that
mhm.
fucking oh shit.
Yeah, that was. Oh, they were not laughing. They were not
I
happy about
don't know
him.
how that. I still am not sure to this day if that was like a fuck up or a mistake somehow that somebody troll like suggested it. Like, oh yeah, conservative. Colbert's a really super cool conservative guy. You'll love him, and showed a couple clips and people okayed it or something. Like Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe there was some dope ass White House intern who like cherry picked the most like blind to Bush administration clips that would make them laugh, and
Mm-hmm.
then low-key they get them in there and just destroys them the roasting. Well, here's the problem now though. Okay, here's the news here from what I understand. Um, Michelle Wolf, right? Is that her name? The comedian that
Yeah.
was at the most
Yeah, I
recent
saw
one.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you know that no, she was the head speaker there for it. Did a lot of jokes that pissed off a lot of people,
I watched the
including
whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. So from what I understand now is obviously Trump didn't go because he was like I don't know being peak snowflake or whatever and
Well,
couldn't
he
take a
doesn't go
joke.
because, dude, you should have seen him. The second to last one, I think that Obama gave.
Mhm.
Trump was so fucking salty.
Mad.
Like every time the camera zoomed in on him, you can't see my face, but he was like every fucking time. His face was stone fucking cold. He was so upset. Oh my god.
Wait, pause here. Apparently we were dropping frames.
Oh, it happens every now and then. Don't worry, that's my wonderful internet service provider.
Oh, okay.
But we're good.
Oh, shout
Yeah,
outs by
yeah.
the
Every
way.
now and then, they just like to chill on my internet connection. Like, we need a break.
Shout outs to the FCC. Shout outs to GPI. Shout outs to the internet duopolies that go on currently in the USA. They're doing a great job as
But
always.
Trump was so mad that he didn't go to. I don't think he's ever gone to one since. So yeah, which is kind of funny because I think that the Obama family has every reason to actually legitimately fucking hate Trump, like beyond the point of even considering him to be like human anymore. For that whole
Right.
birther movement. I think
Right.
Michelle Obama, I thought, published an op-ed or gave an interview where she talked about how fucked their life had become because of people making accusations and whatnot at them, because a lot of people thought that Obama was a Muslim born in Kenya. Like, yeah, it's like really,
Yeah.
really, really fucked up shit. Some people seem to forget that Trump like was one of the spearheads of that birther movement. But
And
yeah.
he was. Yeah. There was go through his Twitter timeline, y'all. 2013. It was just like that's what I remember. I remember at one point being like, dude, who is this guy? Really, Trump? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just going on and on about it, dude.
Oh, it might
But
have been part of
yeah,
her new book too. Sorry, yeah, okay.
yeah, it's part of our new book. Okay, so there's two things here. So first thing first is about back to the correspondence center here. One is that they what's notable here now though is, so you say you like it, but even an entertainment value of it will probably drop diminishly next year because apparently Michelle Wolf went too far and pissed off too many of the Republican snowflakes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that they already have approved here that next year a comedian will be the head speaker. It'll be a book author of some sort. So you're
Sure.
gonna have like less jokes in general and more of the thing that I'm not personally a fan of, the congratulatory pat between press and White House or whatever. Even though there's like, in my opinion, like abysmal coverage on the accountability of what the Trump administration does day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can get into that more if you want to talk about that more here. But yeah, you're gonna have point is, yeah, you're gonna probably see a quite boring resident sleeper, more tamed down, less comedic
Yeah.
correspondence dinner from here on out because they already approved some book author they want next year. So
Yeah. I feel
yeah, we'll see.
I feel like the Michelle Wolf's problems was two things. One is that she was quite savage, and two, I felt like there weren't that many funny jokes. I listened to it all. I want to say I laughed maybe twice or three times. A lot of it was just kind of mean. So I mean, obviously conservatives are going to be fucking snowflakes, whether or not they're mad or not. But yeah, that was my main problem. Is that I just didn't feel like much of her roast was actually
No,
that funny.
I can agree actually. I can agree that I'm not a fan of her delivery either. She kind of just like tells the joke but doesn't like pace it with like a delivery that
Yeah,
has
it's like a style. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like this, and yeah. So I can agree with components of that as well, actually. And you're right, it was pretty hardcore. But I guess if you have a biased perspective about it, then you're like, yeah, they had it coming, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then two was that yes, in Michelle Obama's new book, I forget what it's called, whatever, something togetherness or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, she elaborates that in her words here, she'll never forgive Trump for
The birther shit.
the birther shit. Yeah. To which, by the way, there was just like if you got to look for it, it's a funny clip here. Your guess would be, how would Trump react to, if someone from the press interviewed Trump on, well, hey, Michelle said this about you about the birth movement here. How do you feel about that? And he just like, how would he react? And he reacts like a total, absolute man child. And then honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it gets all, oh, we got the military was weak under Obama, and now I'm making it
Yeah, the
better because
pivots.
I'm finally gonna finance it so it can be reformed. And it's just like, what reformed? It's already comically huge right now. What are you talking about? Like, what more do you need?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, he just goes on and on about himself and the accomplishments he's done under his time and how it was terrible under Obama, and then throws out some statistics that are completely biased on the perspective that leans towards him looking good. May not happen because of him as an involvement. And yeah, he gets really, really butthurt. But yeah, it's just funny because he's so obviously mad about it, honestly.
Yeah. All right. I think we got one more good one in us.
Yeah, I already threw out the the ones that I liked. Did you see?
Am I
Let me
supposed
see
to
here.
have some of these?
Okay, so the problem is there are some that, all right, let me just clarify here real quick about the Reddit questions.
Mm-hmm.
There are questions I love, but they are so heavy that I already know they're going to be like a 30-minute discussion derail if I even ask it out loud here. So there are some here that I'm like,
we got 13 minutes left to hit our 2 hours, and then we can talk a little bit over. So yeah, hit us up with a big one. Go for it.
Okay, all right. So you ready for I like this one here because this is a very this is one I feel like does not get a lot of love here, but I like it anyway. So in terms of gaming here, how effective do you think the ESRB and the MPAAR Part 1, Part 2,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there should be stricter regulations enacted regarding online play? So, okay, two-part question. First thing first, let's elaborate what those two things are here. The ESRB is the Entertainment Software Ratings Board. That is the thing that does a little box rating on the front of every video game ever.
T for
E for
teen,
everyone,
for mature,
T for
yeah.
teen. Right. And then the MPAA is the Motion Picture Association of America, and that's the board that does all the ratings for all the movies. So G, PG, PG-13, rated R, and the never seen before NC-17. So let's just get this out the way real quick here. There's a board that does software, video games, and there's a board that does Motion Picture Association of Movie America that rates movies and film and whatnot. How effective do you think the two are? Okay, so let's so first thing first here. I think the ESRB does an average or below average job, and I think the MPAA does a terrible job. And I can get into why here in a second. But do you want to open the thing first before I go into why, Destiny?
No, go for it. My main critique is not going to be the rating itself, but like whether or not they're even effective anymore, because everything is purchased online. But go for it. Sure.
So yeah, so the thing about the MSRB is its spawn to creation came from the I believe actually it was Mortal Kombat 2 that really sparked the debate here because of like all the you had never seen. So maybe it was Doom. I forget here. I remember it really being drama about Mortal Kombat 2 because on because Sega does what Genesis or I'm sorry, Sega does what Nintendo don't. You can't do this on Nintendo. The old commercial and whatnot. So Sega, to be edgier than Nintendo did or was, had the uncensored release of Mortal Kombat 2 on Sega Genesis, which included decapitations, bone fractures, beheadings,
the fatalities,
violence, blood, yeah, all that stuff, right? And notably here on the Super Nintendo version, it was super dumbed down because I guess Nintendo was freaking out about being a family-friendly image and whatnot, and rather than there be blood when you punch somebody, blood coming from their body, when you instead it was sweat. Is what it was instead here. So it's just like really really toned down. Everyone thought that was like super lame. So because of that, obviously there was some extreme parties that were like, oh my God, they're depicting this unparalleled level of violence in the media and it's crazy and the kids are gonna go crazy. And so and spawn of I forget the exact court case here. The ESRB formed. And they came up with these ratings we have now, which is E for everyone. There's actually more. There's like E for everyone, 10+, which is really really dumb because I think that's a terrible job of differentiating the two, honestly. Because for example, here the new Mario Odyssey, the new Mario game for Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Odyssey, is rated E10+. And you know why? Because at one point you can it contains an enemy that's a tank, and the tank shoots. I don't know, like whatever, like comic bullets or whatever. Like it looks so cute and adorable. But the point is, there's a tank that shoots bullets, and you can capture the tank, and you can shoot bullets at things.
Sure.
Whatever, right? So that's the I know the tragedy, right? So that's why it's given the E10+ because it contains tanks in it.
This is kind of like why the old GI Joe cartoons and shit, they're always shooting lasers out of their guns because those are considered less violent than like bullets. It's kind of the same mentality. Like anything that involves a real gun or bullets is always a lot more harshly rated, I think.
Right. And then we move on further here to, T for teen, M for mature. And here's the problem, or I say the problem. The situation now, though, is that you're kind of in this, actually, wait, before I get into the situation, let's move on here first to the MPAA, because both have the same problem here, honestly. So then the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, they had a ratings board way further back here. But the thing is, the PG-13 rating, the rating that allows, the rating that is the most popular these days now, because it's a rating that says, parental guidance for ages 13 and under, right? But there's technically no limitation here. If you are 13, you could go see a PG-13 film by yourself or whatever. It doesn't require a guardian. Comparatively, a rated R film requires a guardian accompanying you if you're under 18, I think, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and then just to clarify, for PG-13, you can be under 13 and still see it, right?
Right. Yeah. From what I understand. Yeah. So what happens here now is that or the PG-13 rating was the last rating to come aboard here. So prior there was G, PG, and R. And I think around 1982, I forget which film it was that led to this happening here, but you saw there PG was very, very loose. PG rated films included things. Well, first off, there are a lot of very questionable animated films that had a lot of extreme violence that definitely would have not gotten a G rating in modern times, that were rated G back then because they were cartoons. Very loose ratings here. And there were films that had like tons of depicted top nudity, breasts and everything else, that were also rated PG back in the early 80s that would definitely not get a PG at this point now. But I forget which film spawned the controversy, but there was like a call for R is too extreme, but PG is too tame. We need one that gives kind of the middle ground here. I don't remember. Maybe it was Jaws. I can't remember, honestly. And then once PG-13 came into play here, and since then, that's been like the one that it's been really the bread and butter for big studio executives, because it's like, you can depict hyper violence as long as there's no decapitations or extreme gore.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently at some point, I don't know when this happened here, but at some point in the last 30 years, you are able to get one fuck in a PG-13 film. Which in principle, I'm just like, well, I don't get it.
Yeah,
okay,
it's seems arbitrary, seems strange. Yeah,
so dumb. Yeah, so you're agreeing that curse words are bad because you don't want too many fucks in there, but you're saying that one fuck is okay. Mm-hmm. So what does that even mean? Dude, I don't even get that. So to me, that makes, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, if in case you want to hear, the commentary you're gonna see here is that a lot of major blockbusters here will have violence, but you'll never see blood. You'll have a big shootout, right? Mass shooting or whatever on camera. Could be an action scene or whatever, but you'll see minimal blood, or if you do see blood, it'll be quote unquote animated blood, like in Avengers: Infinity War, where the blood is green or purple, whatever.
Yeah,
not bleeding
blood
red
is always
blood.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's okay, sure, whatever.
Sometimes this is actually the way this plays out in film is actually very fucking cringy. Sometimes, I don't know. Did you watch the 3 Batman films, the Nolan ones?
Yeah, Dark Knight. Yeah, actually, that comes to mind for me, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but in the last one, The Dark Knight Rises, there are a lot of gun scenes that actually they feel and look really cringy, where a guy shoots and then a guy on the screen will go move his body, but there's no blood. And there was at least one scene where I had to do a double take because I wasn't sure. Oh, it was the scene when what's her name?
Catwoman.
The real child of the prison. That lady's name. Oh my fucking god, the lady.
I'm sorry, it's been a long time. Forgive me.
Talia, yeah, Talia, the child of the prison or whatever. Yeah, Talia al Ghul or some shit. When she's riding in
warning, spoilers, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, come on, it's 10 years. yeah. But anyway, she's riding in that Batmobile, and then the one police chief guy is standing there, and she's like, kill them all, or shoot them all, or destroy them all, or some shit. And then the vehicle drives by them, and then the next scene is him kind of laying there. And I had to think for a second, I was like, wait, did he get shot and killed? Because there's no blood anywhere. And it's like, what the fuck is... it must have drove by and shot them all. But they don't show any blood for any of the gunshots in any of the scenes. It's very strange. And in The Dark Knight Rises, that's the film that took me the most out of it by not having blood. And I just got very confused by some of the gun scenes. It seemed very weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's those corporate mandates to meet PG-13 because it feels like a threat. So let's clarify that here real quick here too. A lot of these films are these production companies are scared to go for R-rated film because it feels like you're alienating a potential audience by not being PG-13, by requiring the Guardian tethered to the ticket purchase whenever that could happen. Because I guess apparently in big cities these kids go to the theaters in droves now and want to go see a movie on opening weekend or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
think you can take an underage person in with a radar movie, can you? Are you able to?
You can. Yeah, if you have a guardian with you, it requires a guardian though. Is a thing. So if you're 18 or over, you can bring kids with you. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, you're thinking of the rating above R. NC-17 is the one where kids can't come in.
An R rating on a movie means children under the age of 17 can only get in with a parent or guardian who is over the age of 21. Because I remember going to the movies, I want to say with Chris, and he had to get a fake ID to get in because I couldn't get him in even though I was of age because he was a year younger than me. But it's because I couldn't, as an 18-year-old, I can't bring in a 17-year-old friend. Or as a 17-year-old, I couldn't bring in a 16-year-old friend. That was it. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that happening for a reason. So but you have to be 21 or older, I guess. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you got to be. So if a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old go see an R-rated film, they can't together.
They have to get a parent or an older friend.
God, oh my God. So fucking. Okay. All right. I learned today. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to continue on though, yeah, these studios are scared to make an R-rated film because it feels like it's alienating a potential audience demographic. So, and it's not, and it'd rather just minimize whatever they got to do to get that rating down so they can just have that audience tapped in for it. So that's why you're seeing, all the Transformers films, all the Jurassic World films, all the Marvel
Batman,
films.
all the Marvel. Oh yeah, all of those. Making a film.
All of them.
That's why Deadpool was such a big deal. Having an R-rated movie is a really big.
Yeah, correct. Correct. And even then, Deadpool's only approved because of the viral quote unquote leak of the footage that led to positive fan reception, which led to them giving confidence to the source material that justified it having an R-rated film.
Yeah.
Same thing for Logan too. Logan also kind of is fantastic because the story of Wolverine is hyper violent, and that depiction of that's a film that genuinely the R rating really helps it out there because it's the gravity of the brutality of the scenes involving Wolverine going fucking apeshit and stabbing everybody. So, moving on though, yeah. So the PG-13 rating now is just like this really like kind of broken tier, vague, over encompassing rating. Because like if you ever read the little dialogue box that kind of tell you a summary of what's included there, some of them just go ham. It's like a seven like a quantity of 7 descriptions of what's being depicted in the film is extreme. It's like for mild blood and gore, scientific violence, off-screen decapitation, and it just goes on. And it's like, wow, man, you can really push. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised with how far, like, particularly here, Infinity War. Infinity War is quite violent on screen for what it can get away with on PG-13.
Yeah, I was a little uncomfortable because I took Nathan to see that movie, and the beginning one where the guy is like crushing Loki's head.
Yeah. When Loki is like strangled to death, like visibly choked out on screen, like dead, hanging on the floor of the ship, like with freaking like pale blue skin and like dead ball rolled eyes, you're just like, oh shit, dude. Like I am blown away that they got away with that in PG-13, honestly. Holy fuck, dude. But again, you know what though? The thing about that is though, those ratings, how it works is, Trey Parker and Matt Stone on South Park actually elaborated this here because whenever they had their film come out, the South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut, the 99 animated film from South Park, whenever they were trying to get their R rating, because obviously they pushed the boundary all the fucking way. They went into detail in the commentary here about how annoyingly stupid, incompetent, and inconsistent the MPAA is, because they would make scenes that were like hyper violent or hyper grotesque with like just like a dude like shitting everywhere, knowing that it would piss them off and say, no way, you gotta get rid of that entire scene. And then they would make extra extreme cuts, knowing that if like they gave the MPAA the satisfaction of neutering it down to whatever they wanted, that was still getting away with more than if they gave them the actual intended cut they wanted here. And they did the same thing for Team America, World Police. They make deliberately hyper violent, hyper grotesque cuts of the film just so they can get edited down, so they get a fake satisfaction that they actually did something, and then they release the film that they want anyway. So
yeah, I've heard that before,
funny.
that people will do things for the censors in order for them to catch it, and then they make some concessions and other stuff is able to slip by.
Got a game here. Now, with all that explained in mind here, y'all, how effective is the MSRB? I'm sorry, how effective is the ESRB and the MPAA? The problem with both these things here now is that you have a wide spectrum of products that kind of only cover like 2 big points here. There are a shit ton of games that are either rated M for mature because they have they're gonna be a shooter that depicts violence and has blood and shit, or it's not M. And MPA, you're gonna have a wide spectrum of movies that are gonna be either PG-13 or not. And there's a wide spectrum of those as well here. And it's like, I don't think either one. I think ESRB does what it needs to do fine. But MPA in particular here is when it's extra ambiguous, and it's like, I'm not sure if I don't think it does a great job of like really like factoring in like what it should be doing, honestly. I don't think either. I don't think MPA in particular is not really that effective at all. I think because the problem is it's been gamed by the Hollywood studios now. Like they're just kind of catering to the absolute extreme they can push things to be an all audience market. And that's kind of like hindering, I feel like, the creative endeavors of filmmaking at this point. Not only that too, but another standard here too another thing to consider here too is that I could be wrong on something here, but I believe in USA the MPAA's rating system where we are okay with violence as long as it's not goreful, but we are super against sexual content. From what I'm saying, actually it's backwards in everywhere else in the world. Whereas like in other
Europe,
other regions, because sex is naturally occurring, sex is just like it's like.
I want to say I was in either Poland or Germany, and I saw like a billboard or an ad or something on normal TV that you saw like a titty on it, like an actual like nipple. Am I crazy? Does this actually happen? I want to say this is either Poland or Germany, where I saw it. I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it was like, it wasn't like on a pay-for channel or anything. It was like on a normal ad or something. I saw it and I couldn't fucking believe it.
Well, why would that be a big deal? I mean, because it goes back here. Now let's go into another topic, which is like, well, I mean, is public breastfeeding offensive? And I that's another one, right? Like in America, it's like, you're being so indecent, but it's like, it's a perfectly, to me, it's like, it's a natural body function, and being a parent's fucking hard. So you want me to like, I don't know. I feel like that's another one. It's like really tethered to like religious standards. But like if you remove that perspective here, you're just like, what is the problem here? Um. So but maybe that's me though. Actually, I don't know if you want to get into that one right now here, but that I feel that's another one that can kind of tell the same dilemma right here, particularly here.
Yeah, it's not necessarily
But
the ESRB or the MPA, but kind of our standards in general of what's acceptable media. It's like a wider, broader conversation, right?
right. So continue on here though, yeah. But everywhere else in the world, where it's backwards, sex is the natural thing that like that you would see in any given like non-modern society in terms of like human animals and whatnot, and it's the hyper violence that's synthetic and that should be seen and approached with caution here. So the ratings are actually backwards over there compared to over here, and I wish that were the case here because, or maybe do I wish that was? Yeah, because of the reason why, because of the religion stuff and whatnot. So I wish that were a little bit different for the MPAA a lot here, but unfortunately, the problem is that the MPAA is got too much clout as the official authority on ratings, and they're like tethered to their board of theater chains that pretty much, because the theater chains are tethered to the MPAA and they're tethered to the major
it's a whole
filmmaking
racket.
companies. Yeah, the whole thing is never really going to change, honestly, because like now there's too much lobbying power from the studio executives to like keep things how they are now, because it's kind of in a way where I forget how, but there's a giant ploy here that like the big studio companies can pretty much use the ratings as a tool to hinder more indie films, because typically independent films are going to like go for more risque content or things that just like that can't be depicted commonly in the major studio films, which would probably be more sexual tension, strong language, psychological themes and whatnot. And those are more likely to get R-rated ratings. So therefore, those are less competitive than regular films, which keeps them all exactly how they want.
Yeah,
honestly. So that's a shit show right there. And then going back here to the ESRB, this one I don't have a great conclusive opinion on, because like I personally never had to deal with any of this shit. But by the time the ESRB had enough like mainstay name recognition to actually enforce game sales to retail outlets, I was already 13 years old. Like particularly, I personally bought Grand Theft Auto Vice City for PS2. I bought that as a 12-year-old at Walmart, no questions asked, 2002. Like they didn't even care, like because again, it wasn't there. By the time the M rating actually meant something and you got ID'd for it, I was already 18 by that point or whatever.
Yeah.
So so that wasn't relevant to me, so I can't comment conclusively on that one. But I do agree with your big point here, is the fact that you're right. I never had thought about this here. You get ID'd for cigarettes, you get ID'd for alcohol, but then the ESRB is here and you can just buy M-rated games online, no questions asked, no kind of verification. GG.
Yep.
So I never even thought about that, actually. How effective is it really going to be when you can just like get it? The only areas even being enforced here is the quote unquote dying retail outlet, as opposed to the online shopping.
Yep. As long as they don't make that more strict. Yeah. Which
Right.
they might, but.
And then so we covered that there, and then finally, part 2. Do you think there should be stricter regulations enacted regarding online play? Now there is one for you, right?
For
So
loot
what we have,
boxes, I think it should definitely be treated as gambling, if that counts as online play. But
okay, see, that's actually a really good one to bring up here. I think that the loot box is a bigger topic I'd love to hop on next time. I understood online play as just the idea of just playing online. You're playing
like
online,
interactions with other players. And
yeah,
whatnot.
interactions, chat rooms, lobbies and whatnot. And with that in mind, all we have here so far is like the general disclaimer on on game box art that online interactions are not rated by the ESRB. That's all you get as like a thing, because they're not responsible for whatever MILF Hunter 14 says on the Call of Duty chat room, whatever. Whenever he calls you a I don't know, cunt licker or whatever the fuck's going to say to you at some point. So the question here is, should there be stricter regulations enacted regarding online play? And that's a tough one to answer, honestly, for me, because like I used to work at GameStop here, and I know like when I would tell, when I've had at least like one mom ask me, hey, my son, he's like 10 years old, he enjoys Call of Duty, he wants to play online with his friends and stuff like that. Should I be worried? And I was just like, fuck, dude, she's putting me in a situation right now. Like, she's being a good parent, because I can't tell you how often at GameStop, just like non-existent parenting, dude. Like parents don't give a fuck. Just like, yeah, it keeps them quiet. I don't give a shit. Fuck out of here. He wants it. I'm seeing, and I'm pretty liberal when it comes to like, play the games you want to play here. But whenever I see like, I mean, I'm talking, bro, like maybe 6-year-olds playing GTA 4, I was just like, well, okay, maybe that's this should be a consideration here at some point about what they're playing. Oh, it's cool. You watch R-rated movies, and it's like, all right, well, I wonder what happened to me if I played Grand Theft Auto at 6 years old, I guess. But anyways, though, moving on from that topic here. Yeah, and it's like I just don't know what I kind of just I was very bluntly honest to the mom. I told her, like, he's gonna expect foul language to be said in the chat rooms because it's gonna be a lot of adults there along with children. But as long as he's okay with that and you're aware of the possibility that he could get called bad names, I think he'll have a great time. I think because it's gonna be just, he'll have infinitely more people to play with and whatnot.
Yeah.
I gave her like a brutally honest answer, and she ultimately got it for him, but was now aware to stay adamant with like seeing what he was playing and what he was doing when he was playing online. Which is kind of how I had it, like a little bit, but not really, because my mom was too dumb. She didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, yeah, I need Xbox Live, and she was like, all right, cool, here you go.
Damn. My parents were the other way, where they were dumb, but it was in the other way, where everything was like violent and horrible and bad. Like,
really?
Yeah.
No,
like my parents thought that every video game was about like killing and murdering women and everything, even if they had no idea. Yeah.
That's actually really, really funny. I actually love to hear more about that, honestly.
I remember I had a really awkward moment where my friend Frank, growing up, wanted to buy Halo, and so his dad came over and he said that he wanted me to play the game to see how violent it was. And I remember I tried to do like the most pacifist, like sneak through playthrough of the game as possible. Like I would walk up and I would always like melee the creatures in the back and shit so that there wasn't as much blood, or there might not have been any blood for the melee animation. I would try to shoot things, and I wouldn't use like the assault rifle. I would use all the plasma weapons and stuff, and I was trying to like Metal Gear Solid my way through it. It's like, because his dad was sitting there watching me to check for violence and shit. Yeah,
I could imagine. That's so awkward, dude. He's just sitting there with his hands folded behind you.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly like that. Yeah, standing up, watching me play. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Oh wait, I got one for you too here. Okay, so one time, this was like in the late 90s here, right? So I'm at my friend's house, and I forget his name. Let's call him Billy, whatever, right? We were all playing 4-player Mario Kart 64 on his Nintendo 64, right? And it was super lit. But then one of the guys like, yo, man, y'all want to play Turok Dinosaur Hunter? And everyone's like, like, fuck yeah, let's play Turok, bro.
Yeah.
So he puts Turok in, and then Billy's all like, no, guys, it's rated M. I can't play that game. Or it was rated T, like whatever. I think maybe it was rated T. Either way, it was rated above E, and he freaked out, said, no. If my mom gets me playing that, I'm gonna get grounded, dude. We can't play that here. So we had to we literally we got blue balled so hard because we were like, we already played Mario Party, we'd already played Mario Kart. It was like the next thing was like, fuck yeah, dude, let's play Turok, bro. And like he like freaked out because it was rated T or higher, and we ended up we couldn't play it at his house. His mom was gonna freak out if he saw it.
Fucking Billy.
So that was
Turok 2 had some violent shit. In the multiplayer, there was some weapon you could get called like the Brain Hunter, where you'd like shoot it and it would like track the nearest person. You like saw out their fucking brain from their head or whatever. Yeah, I remember that game. Dude. Turok and Turok 2 were both pretty bloody for their time, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And there was one more thing you brought up here about games rated M and the parents freaking out. I was going to tell you about. There's another interesting story about that.
Yeah, the cerebral bore.
Oh yeah, dude. Working at GameStop, man. Can we take a second here and just go over the absurdity of hot coffee for San Andreas? Are you familiar with this one? This whole story
man. Here? So a long time ago, I think it was discovered on the game disc that there were pornographic assets. I don't think the assets themselves were added, but there was a mod that lets you basically unlock those to retexture the skin of some of the prostitute girls, or some of the like fuck scenes where you could actually relay the booby textures over the chick's boobs. It was called Hot Coffee, and this was like a massive fucking scandalous thing. That it was a huge fucking deal that you could do this.
Yeah, it's also elaborate here too, by the way, that the only way it was possible to even like enable these mods was like with like Game Shark. You had to hack the game. It wasn't like it was readily accessible on like a basic playthrough here. But because the core code for the base retail sold game contained them in some fashion, and or again what's his name here, the attorney guy, the douchebag, Jack Thompson. Yeah, and then of course Jack Thompson sitting here like, see, this is the problem with the youth today. These video games are why there are school shootings and bad things, and we just need to have just sitting there deep throating himself metaphorically here. And so yeah, that led to him getting a couple of news outlets covering his story and whatnot, and that led to the outrage of like eventually Walmart, particularly not wanting to be associated with the bad press. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna ban San Andreas now. We're gonna literally ban that copy of the game. So then Rockstar was forced to
release a patch or an updated version.
Yeah, re-released a new version, had hot coffee taken out. Now, notable to me here was that it was so extreme. It was so extreme that like even at GameStop, like the barcode on the back of the game that had the hot coffee mod,
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't take it in. We like that version of the game was banned from being traded in. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, so overkill on a non-issue. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
Oh no, the titties.
Yeah. Well.
So
Especially nowadays, when we have like The Witcher 3, where you're getting full on like fuck scenes, like so or softcore fuck scenes, I guess.
well, not only that, so you got that, and you have what's that one that barbarian game where like they just have like fully rendered penis with dong physics and whatnot.
You're not talking about Rust, are you?
Is it Rust?
Well,
I don't know.
you
It was
run
one-
around in Rust where you're fully naked. I think there's like animated dicks and what. Oh, people are saying Conan.
Yeah, Conan Exiles, dude. Yeah, dude. Oh, man, wow, we gotta talk about that at some point, dude. Man, like what just the talking about the MSRP and the MPAA, dude. Like whenever the amount of dick I saw on that game on every stream ever, I'm just like, is this allowed on Twitch? I didn't know that. I thought Twitch was like super. Because I'm thinking
Yeah,
back
as
to
long
like
as it's in
whenever
the game and it's not the focus, you can do it on Twitch. Yeah.
interesting here. Okay, because I remember like Honey Pot being banned and Yandere Simulator getting banned precautiously.
Yeah,
And then I'm
Yandere
just seeing-
Simulator though, wasn't that game like a rape simulator? Isn't that essentially what that game is? Like where you try to like sneak shots up girls' skirts and stuff like that.
No, okay. So there's an anime game where like your goal is like you're a photographer and you're running around like a school. I think it's for PS Vita, or it could be wrong. Maybe it was import only, but it's a game where it's like a camera. It's like Pokemon Snap, but for pantsu, for panties.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of like run around and like every girl, I don't know, your camera's magical, is able to like upskirt people or whatever, or blow a strong breeze. And so your goal is to like use the camera's ability to like blow a strong breeze and then take a picture. And that's just an anime filler game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that got banned or whatever. But that's different than Yandere Simulator. Yandere Simulator was like, actually don't understand what particular issue, because Twitch never really gave like gave one. Just like, yeah, this game's banned indefinitely. I'm not sure actually what particular thing about Yandere Sim they felt was worth banning over, other than just like the precaution that this was like a heavily anticipated game that involved, and it did involve violence at a Japanese school, because you were going to be, the girl was going to like run around and do violent things to other people,
Mm-hmm.
as a yandere girl would do. But I don't see that being any worse than like freaking GTA 5, honestly. So I never got it personally, but I have to look further into it.
Huh. Oh, people are saying they banned it based on that you could kill school children. That would make sense because that's why they banned. Didn't Twitch ban the game Hatred? Do you remember that one?
Is that the school shooter simulator?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like a top-down shooter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Well, hey, cool. Is that it? Are we good? Are we caught up on the Reddit questions?
Yeah. I had one more cool story about the MSRP thing. I forgot what it was now though, but oh well, it's all right. I too many thoughts, man. We'll catch you next time.
Sure. Yeah. You can remember it for the next one. We can open with it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that, do you want to tease them about what we have next week? I know we brought up a topic here that we were in the meeting here. We're talking about a topic that we wanted to get to, but we wanted to make sure we had time for it. So that's why we opted to not cover it this time, because we wanted to have more Reddit questions involved this time. But do you want to?
Are you talking about the hour-long Bethesda shitting session?
Yes, yeah. Do you want to? So you want to tell them that's it's in the pipeline?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that might be coming next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be coming up next. I know we briefly dabbed on it last week, and we are dabbing on it again this week. But you might get the full scoop of Bethesda shitting next week. So, yeah, because we got to talk about, dude, Fallout 76% off, man. It's already getting heavily discounted. It's already freaking.
They made an official post on their subreddit about it, the Bethesda studio, about the problems, but yeah. Oh fuck. Okay, real quick. Do you know the YouTube guy, Your Movie Sucks?
Yes.
I think that guy said he would come on. That's a pretty big dude to talk about movies.
Wait. Adam would come on, dude? Oh my god.
I think so. I think Mr. Mooten. Yeah. Did you watch the movie Halloween?
Dude, no. I love YMS, dude. That's my boy.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually gonna free. I'm a fanboy really hard if actually comes on, because like I've been a very, very happy patron to him for like years now.
Oh, that's sick.
Actually,
dude,
yeah,
I think he's expressing it. Yeah, Mr. Mooten's contacted him. Yeah, he said he's expecting it, so we might have him on. If we might do that next week or the week after.
God.
But yeah,
that would be crazy, dude. Look at the DT podcast stepping up. I love it, dude. No, that'd be sick, man. That'd be really, really sick.
I think on episodes where we do guests, we might have like only 1 or 2 topics. We might keep it like
Yeah,
really
yeah, for sure.
focused
I'd
on the
want to
guest.
like,
So he's not
yeah, I
sitting there
want
as
to
we
go
like.
him.
So today in Twitch news, like,
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
just like sitting there, you know.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I cut you off here. What was your question about Halloween? Have I seen it?
Oh yeah, I just asked if you'd seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. I actually heard it was shit.
Really?
Or is that what I'm thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of a different horror movie. I'm forgetting, like, because like my general thing about horror is like modern horror is garbage for like 90% of the most part. But I forget if Halloween was one that I didn't see, but I can't recall if I liked the trailer or not, honestly.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was really bad too, but apparently,
Look at this here. Chat is so mixed right now. Like half
well,
of them are
like
saying
all the reviews and the Metacritic and everything, like seem to rate it like very highly, and I thought it was legitimately like one of the worst movies I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I was just curious if you'd actually seen it. Yeah.
No, I had the last horror film I had seen was Lights Out. I saw in 2017, which my girlfriend wanted to go see really, really bad. She's like, I haven't seen a horror movie in a while, and I'm like, man, this thing's like fucking horse shit. And then because I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, let me go there, and of course, dude, every cliche in the fucking book, people act like idiots, and it's just like I'm completely taken away from disbelief. And every time there's a panning camera shot, of course it's gonna be a jump scare because what the fuck else would it be? And I'm just like, this is everything wrong with modern horror now, dude. It's a pile of horse shit. I'm not saying there aren't good modern horror films, y'all, but they're like, but you got to be real here. You know that 90% of them are garbage right now.
Yeah, but they seem to make a lot of money, so.
So.
All right, well, hey, thanks for joining us this time, guys. Trihex, thanks for coming, joining me. You want to tell people your stuff, where they can find you, what's going on?
Yeah, dude. Y'all can actually be live here very, very shortly. I stream a ton on my channel, twitch.tv/trihex. I am the face of your favorite global emote, Try Hard. So you can know that when you're flexing that, you are flexing the face of high IQ and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm brain farting really hard right now. But yeah, I'm gonna be I'm very, very excited for the new Smash Brothers here. So I'm counting down myself until the new Smash comes out. I'll be playing that a shit ton. I want to get into it competitively. So I'm looking forward to labbing a shit ton when that drops. But in the meantime, you can come by my channel and chill. I just played DDR yesterday. Come through here. I like to ask on Wednesdays from the podcast day what you would like to see. So today might be I might get through the new Spyro HD trilogy, or I might continue my playthrough of Mega Man 11. But I probably will start at first with Mario Maker because I know you guys like seeing the Mario levels played really, really well. So yeah, come through. It'll be a dope podcast after party if you want.
Cool. And I'm Destiny, obviously. This podcast is syndicated. I don't have that page up. Oh no, I do. If you go to Destiny. If you go to destiny.gg/podcast, it'll take you to the Libsyn page or whatever, where you can see where some of the episodes are. And I think it should be hosted on Spotify and SoundCloud and everything as well. You have to search for D.T to find it right now, though, because there's a period in between. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but yeah, if you search for D.T and then podcast, you should be able to find it. But yeah, otherwise, destiny.gg/podcast, if you're looking for the podcast and where it's syndicated. And then... yeah, I mean, I'm Destiny. My website is Destiny.gg. You can find all my info there. The biggest thing I'm pushing right now is I'm selling shirts and whatnot, finally. So if you go to destiny.gg/shirt, I think. Yeah, my Designed by Human store will come up. I've got a couple of hoodies, I think. I've got t-shirts. I've got the Sin and Benelli design. There's mugs, there's stickers. Check all that out. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for joining us on episode 3. We'll be back next week with episode 4. And it's been fun. I'll see you guys later.
Later, y'all. Peace.